Boom.
What is happening, peoples? You are listening and watching the Alternative Facts Podcast, episode 54. GQ.
Yo, it's your boy BarZ.
Hey, coming at you, Danger Felix, aka Feeling Good at episode Studio 54.
Hey.
Oh,
And in the spirit of keeping things, fun in the Studio 54. First thing we're going to cover today, everybody, is a cereal called Booty-O's.
Booty-O's!
Would you like to share?
Yeah. So I came across, don't ask me why, okay? I came across something. It was an article.
Came across Booty-O's?
I mean, I came across Booty-O's, but
He randomly came across
I wasn't looking for Booty-O's. You understand? If that makes sense. I was not looking for Booty-O's.
Booty-O's just showed up.
It just popped up.
Got you.
I don't know if
That's what normally happens with Booty-O's. They just normally pop up.
I don't know if they was checking my algorithms or what, but it just popped up.
Yeah, you do got that problem with Google for whatever reason. Just be throwing you like random stuff on the left. No, I said socks. I said I'm looking for socks.
So yeah, I came across an article and it's like the headline was Booty-O's. It's a real thing that you can really buy. Okay, so apparently Booty-O's is a cereal. I didn't look that deep into it. I don't know when it was created. I don't know how long it's been on sale. But
you didn't look too deep into the Booty-O's.
Nah, I wasn't trying to go that deep.
Too many people around.
But
bookmark for later.
What really threw me off was the imagery of the Booty-O's. I'm gonna send it to you guys. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can pull it up.
I'm very afraid, by the way.
I feel like everything BarZ says sounds like innuendo.
I'm looking. Wow. Okay,
this is not what I hoped for.
It's not what you hoped for.
First of all, why is the box so colorful?
No, it's bright.
And why is this? Is this sponsored by the WWE? Is that what that is in the corner? Made with 100% positivity?
It is.
Huh.
So right off the back, I got a couple issues with it, right?
Go ahead. What's your issue?
I'm going to put aside for a moment. I'm going to press pause on the fact that this looks like a racist caricature. I'm going to put that to the side because that's blatant, right? But what's not as obvious is if you look in the bowl, I don't see anything resembling a booty.
Me neither.
Just from a purely cereal perspective, I have great issue with that. I was expecting,
there's no accuracy whatsoever.
Well, there are holes
portrayed.
So there's like false advertising here.
Well, there are holes.
It's Booty-O's. Is it supposed to be booty holes? Because I'm expecting booties. Oh, not booty. O's. Like an O-ring.
Oh, the Booty-O's. I pictured the.
I pictured, like the chocolate, Cheerios. I'm picturing something like that.
Right.
Except it's a little thicker, and maybe they threw in a couple of other pieces of cereal that look like cheeks.
See, that's what I was expecting. Cheeks of some sort. So now that we got that out the way,
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this could have been successful, bro. This could have been really good.
Yeah, this is what you'd miss.
Strip clubs everywhere, but now they made it ugly.
This cereal is sponsored by the WWE. The characters on this cereal are apparently real people. This is an active wrestling group currently involved with the WWE.
Okay, so I don't know if that makes it better or worse. Is it? Because I'm just like, wait a minute. So
it doesn't. It's all bad. No,
It's okay. Oh, okay.
I haven't watched wrestling in, it's been a while. It's been a while. So I'm not familiar with Kofi Kingston and Big E.
I'm familiar with Kofi Kingston.
Kofi Kingston.
Kofi Kingston. I don't know the other two that well.
Which one's Kofi on the box? Is
Kofi is the one on the far right in the back.
Or the one waiting with the spoon, looking at the guy's ass.
No. The Kofi is the other.
Wait, what?
Kofi
is that what those spoons are for?
What are they looking at?
No.
They're not looking at the bowl?
Kofi is the one with the extravagant hairstyle on the right of the box.
Okay. Extravagant.
I think they're looking at the bowl, B. I think.
I hope
It
so.
does not look like they're looking at the bowl.
It doesn't.
It really doesn't, and I'm very
That
scared.
might be booty O's that you was looking for. The nigga eating cereal.
I feel like all they did was take some Lucky Charms and rebrand it Booty-O's. That's what it looks like.
That's exactly what it looks like, bro.
1000%.
What are those? Is that a half? What is that? Is that a half a moon? Are they all like half moons? Is that they all are just like the same?
I don't know. That's a cheat.
It's not as funny as I thought it would be.
That's a
It's
cheat.
disturbing.
So this is disappointing.
Yeah.
Does it make it like less racist that they're real people? You know, like Aunt Jemima's a real person.
Here's the thing about it, right? These people had to have granted them clearance to use their likeness on the box.
Do you think so though? Because don't you sign over your likeness when you are part of something like the WWE? Because that character you bring to them, and don't they own the character? Like The Rock. The Rock, the wrestler.
The Rock owns
somebody else.
If you created, so there's characters that come and create their own persona and their own name, and then there's other people that had their brand created by the company. And depending on what you have in your contract, because it really comes down to the contract. If you have it worked out in your contract to where you could take whatever you created with you everywhere you go, cool. And some people may not have read on the dotted line, on the fine print, and saw that, some of this stuff would be signed away and they didn't correct it. These guys, I don't know what kind of contract they have, but I feel like this is something that they either was willing to do or was blackmailed into doing out of punishment. It's one of those two things.
It's rough.
Yeah,
I thought that was interesting to wake up Saturday morning and see that being advertised. So I had a little Facebook.
Booty-O's.
Yeah, had a little fun on Facebook and asked my Facebook friends.
Right.
You were in the aisle, you were in a line, you're ready to ring out, and saw somebody behind you pull up with this cereal in your cart, or in the cart that they have. What would your reaction be? Have a few funny reactions, but also interested to know. Not for nothing. Joel Ortiz, he had a cereal moment yesterday morning, also, right? We had a lot of his followers on Twitter, share some of their favorite cereals and stuff like that. And a lot of these cereals I've never heard of. I didn't even know they fucking
King Vitamin? King Vitamin?
Huh?
King Vitamin?
Yes. What the fuck is that?
I've never heard that one before either.
Did you know that there was a Lucky Charms Frosted Flakes crossover?
No.
Yeah, apparently so.
So the leprechaun was chilling with the tiger?
Leprechaun, he got rid of the tiger.
Wait, they just added marshmallows to they added Frosted Flakes to, or marshmallows to Frosted Flakes?
That's a lot.
That sounds awful. It is. That is like way too much sugar, and that's from someone who used to just kill sugar. That's excessive.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So yeah, I came across that. I thought that was interesting. And yeah, it definitely, it's bad enough that it's a cereal called Booty-O's. It's bad enough you can actually go purchase this cereal. It's bad enough that people actually have their kids eating this cereal. And it's bad enough that, unfortunately, African Americans are the one depicted on the front cover of it. chowing down.
Yeah, and they look happy to be too. They look incredibly happy.
If there's a commercial for Booty-O's.
Is there a commercial for Booty-O's? You're looking it up?
Yeah.
I need to see this commercial. Maybe
Is
that
this official?
would sell it for me.
Nah, it's just fake. They don't have a real one.
Yeah, real commercial. Okay.
Nah, I don't think so.
So it was intended to be a spoof?
I think it started off that, then it made it into a real product.
Are you sick
I wonder how it's selling.
They leave you feel material for a perfect way to start your new day. Booty-O's are made with 100% positivity. Booty-O's will make you feel like you are a WWE Tag Team Champion. So dig into some Booty-O's because they make sure you ain't booty. This commercial has been paid for by your favorite channel.
Again, that was not a real commercial for Booty-O's. That was one of the funniest things.
Oh God,
Ain't booty?
that was really bad.
Is that what was that what they said?
Oh, so you ain't booty.
Ain't. Like you're
Not
not booty.
booty.
You are not booty. You are not booty. So that you are not booty.
All right. What's the next topic?
Yeah, let's move on from Booty-O's. Since we're on the topic of black characters, no more white voices. I have a little bit of an inkling of what this is about, but I'll let BarZ expand on that.
No more white voices. I'm tired of hearing these niggas. Be real. Tired of it. No, seriously though, like so the Simpsons, well we know the Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad, Cleveland Show, they all fall under the same umbrella as far as creators or animators, right? So they've come out recently with everything that's been going on with the protests and Black Lives Matter, things like that. They've come out and they have suggested that they will no longer hire white actors to voice black characters. So as of today, we had, well, not as of today, but before we had a white actor voicing Cleveland,
Right.
in the Cleveland Show / Family Guy. We had a white actor voicing Apu from Simpsons. And there was a few other ones as well. Let's see if I can find them.
See,
Yeah. So let me ask you something. Now, by this happening though, is this a good thing or a bad thing for your favorite cartoon?
I'll be honest with you. Like when I heard that Cleveland Brown is no longer going to be the guy that's playing Cleveland Brown currently is no longer going to be him, I felt a little sad because, I've gotten so used to the voice.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, I understand his decision.
Okay.
I understand why he would want to separate himself from that because of the climate that we're living in. Still,
Now,
it's the voice though, because the voice was pretty.
Well, excuse me. Well, what if you have somebody who does impressions and can make that voice? How much would you?
I feel because his voice is so over the top, like lazy. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a distinct sound.
Lazy?
Huh?
Wait, did you say lazy?
Like he sounds like
lazy?
well, let me not say lazy. Let me say relaxed. Relaxed.
This is
the only black character who sound lazy.
Right.
Well, I mean, he has like
voice.
he has this demeanor where it's super laid back. How about that? Like laid back, relaxed, if you will.
Thank you. I prefer that. Yes. I
Yeah.
prefer that. He's relaxed black.
If somebody could do an impression of the guy that previously did the voice and he's black, I'll be fine with it.
I hate it. I hate the move. We talk about doing stuff and making change. I'm all for it. But this is a time where we've gone too far. And I think that this is an opportunity for people to know that only black people can say that things have gone too far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? White people can't be like, okay, well, this is getting out of hand. Like, no, you don't get to weigh in on that because you are not part of the suffrage. But me as a black person, I'm saying this is too far because I feel like this is only an issue if we're finding that black voiceover artists are not represented in the industry. Is that the reason for the move? Because if that's not the reason for the move, if it's just like, black people should do black voices, white people should do white voices, I'm not for that. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say maybe like if that's the intention, behind their move, I would fully support it. But if it's just one of those things where they're like, oh, I'm afraid of any backlash that might come in the midst of all the backlash that's already taking place. So I want to kind of beat them to the punch by saying, I'm going to be very admirable by removing myself from this black role to give it to somebody black. That's where I feel like, it's a little shady. And
well, you have to, so if you remember though, okay, I forget how long ago it was. It's only been a few years that Abu from The Simpsons, the character's been removed from The Simpsons.
Right.
Right? And it was removed because of stereotypes, him working at 7-Eleven, you know, that whole thing and whatnot. So I think this move has a lot to do with stereotypes as well. The black characters and the way they're depicted in these shows, they're depicted a little bit more as the like buckwheat of the show type of thing. You know, if you remember Carl from Simpsons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right. His role was fairly small, but he was also an idiot alongside Lenny. You know, you have Cleveland. He was he wasn't as stupid as Peter. Definitely not.
No.
But he was one of the, slower characters. I think they're trying to I think what needs to happen is black characters or minority characters need to be represented better in animation as opposed to changing the voices. I mean, if the voices fit, the voices fit. If it works, it works. But what is it? How is that character being portrayed? You know what I mean? What are they doing on screen? Voices is one thing, but what are they doing on screen? How do they look? How are you drawing them? Those things need to be looked at as opposed to changing the actors.
Yeah.
Exactly. I feel like they may or may not mean well. I mean, they might mean well, or like G said, it might be the pressure, but they're going about it the wrong way. And my thing is, who are they getting to advise them on this? You know what I mean? Like if they're getting together in a room full of primarily white people, that's not how you make change for diversity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I will say this though. The timing is awfully interesting.
Oh, everybody's changing shit. Yeah, I mean, look, they went too far with fucking removing Aunt Jemima. Like,
which one? Aunt Jemima?
Aunt Jemima.
Yeah, like, I don't think they should remove her. I don't think she should be taken away. Yeah, I get it. I get the character was, it had to do with, racism in the back in the days, and it was based off of a racist, drawing or depiction of black people, all those things. But that,
not to mention,
as a syrup, is like it's a staple in American history.
Right. And isn't Aunt Jemima owned by Quaker?
Well, that part.
That's
that's the thing.
At the end of the day, it's a black image that's not owned by black people. I'm not for it.
That part.
It's not. If it was owned by us, saying that it's a delicious syrup that we provide, cool. But that's not the case.
But the family is losing now.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure they tight.
So how would you feel? Okay, so say your distant relative, not distant relative, but say one of your relatives, great aunts or whatever, if that was her, and you guys were benefiting off of that being sold, you know what I'm saying? You was getting good, consistent money with it, and all of a sudden it stops because of this thing. What do?
I would be upset because that's personal to me in my situation. But for me to be black and not to understand why other black people are upset, like it's kind of like they profited off the pain, right? Because back in the original Aunt Jemima did not look like that, right?
Right. No,
so there's a lot of caricatures for that back when it was created, right? So that image for a lot of black people is hard to watch. That was a time that was not favorable for black people, right? But in this situation, the family of the woman who they got on there, right, the one that we know that we've grown up with, and I think our parents have grown up with, the one that is less of a caricature than the previous one, right? They're kind of getting their 40 acres of a mule, right? And a mule from us, right? Which is cool. But it's something that also affects other people, though. It's not like you just got yours. It's not like they broke you off with a settlement. And it's done. It's good. It still affects everybody else image-wise.
I've never heard somebody complain about the Aunt Jemima syrup. Like,
so this is a funny thing. So this is the interesting thing. If you remove Aunt Jemima, and I think there's a discussion about Mrs. Butterworth. If you remove the images, does that change the syrup?
No, it doesn't change.
Are you not going to buy the syrups now? Are you not going to enjoy them as much?
I mean, I might not though, because I enjoy seeing Aunt Jemima. I enjoy seeing, you know, a black figure on something I purchased. Okay. So what I would prefer is them to get rid of Quaker, or, you know, separate themselves from Quaker, give the rights to the family, and allow the family to do what they want to with the actual product.
So let me ask you, what do you like about seeing Aunt Jemima on your syrup?
Besides the fact that the syrup is good as fuck, it's familiarity, really. That's really it. I mean, she looks like my mom. She looks like my grandmother. You know, which is
cool. But how do you feel that it's not owned by, again, us? So I understand the comfort. No, the icon is comfortable. Yeah. You feel with the icon, like the Lucky Charms, you know, last name. It's like, oh, it's familiar. It's nostalgic. It makes you feel good emotionally. But then that's owned by a white man, most likely.
Right.
Or white man.
I totally understand. That's why I say it would be nice if they could come up with something where they could separate the two, allow the family to have the rights to the character, and the syrup, and, you know, let them sell on their own as opposed to, you know, changing the name.
Yeah,
they're not getting rid of it.
At the very least,
are they changing the name, or are they just removing?
I don't know if they should change the name. I think they should, if they really want to change something, if they just want to change the image, that's cool. But still keep it Aunt Jemima, because you don't see anybody complaining about Mrs. Buttersworth either.
Nah.
The name.
Nobody complaining about Aunt Jemima either. I think white people are.
Mm.
So what happened? What caused the change? You think white people were just like, wait a minute?
No, I think
this might be racist.
I think people are looking back at all of these things and like, you know what? That's racist too.
Yeah, they're looking at all these things in hindsight.
We don't have an issue with look. Changing Aunt Jemima ain't gonna fix what the fuck black people have a problem with in America.
Exactly. Yeah.
Changing character voices isn't gonna fix what the fuck we got a problem with in America. That's not what we're asking for. We don't give a damn about none of that shit.
I mean, statues. I think we care about statues. Right. But,
you know, I mean,
but to your point, some of the other stuff. And that's why I'm interested to know the advisors that are coming in to weigh in on this stuff. Who are they? You know, I'm gonna need. And I know it's gonna sound bad, but I'm gonna need people who I think that'll represent the diaspora really well. I'm gonna need people from like the DC area. I'm gonna need people from Philly. I'm gonna need people from, you know, Georgia, from the South. I'm gonna need them to get a coalition of these different black people from Baltimore, different areas and different parts of the state of black people to say, no, that's not really an issue for me. I don't care that Aunt Jemima's on the front of the syrup. You guys can proceed, you know, with like a blessing, with a certification, because again, if you're in a room with your boardroom, you know, with your members, and you guys are making these decisions without a lot of black and brown input, you're not going to be successful. Mm-hmm. You're either going to be doing too much and not doing enough. Like, you really got to get, you know, black and brown people's input on these issues, because it's about their community. It's your bottom line and your money, but it's their community, you know, that you're going to have to contend with if it's a contentious situation. So, yeah,
I thought that was interesting. Let me ask you guys real quick, though, about the character changes, right? Boondocks. We all love Boondocks. We know how Boondocks is. If we were to find out that any of those voices were voiced by white actors, how would we feel?
I honestly wouldn't feel any type of way, because, heck, they got Sam Jackson voicing a white character.
What if you found that it wasn't Sam Jackson, though, but it was a white character that sounded like Sam Jackson?
Sam Jackson.
I'd be a little disappointed. I'd be like,
But I only use that example because of the content of Boondocks and the things that they discuss and the things that they dive into.
Primarily black issues.
Culture, yeah. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't have an issue with it. I would have no issue with it because, one, it's a Black creator, right? And I think he does a good job of accurately depicting Black situations. You know, we had the whole thing about the nigga moments. I appreciate him separating that there's Black people and then there's niggas, and niggas could affect everybody, not just Black and brown people. And I appreciate that. And the fact that it was owned by a Black person, I don't mind if it was white actors, honestly. I wouldn't mind. If anything, maybe I prefer it, you know, because it's a Black creator with voice actors. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Just,
Okay. Yeah, that's wild.
That is wild. All right.
Yeah. Journey looks crazy. My bad.
Let's head over to. Well, let's talk about the NBA. In Florida, we did it. Let's cover those now, both at the same time.
Okay. All right. We do that.
all right.
So, we going to first? We doing Florida? We made it, or we're doing NBA?
We had a whole production plan, and G just said, "Fuck the Bubba News."
Yeah, right. It's all right. I'm gonna hijack it. I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna hijack it. Chick-fil-A.
Oh, you know what? No, I completely forgot about Chick-fil-A.
See, I'm gonna hijack it. That's what we're doing now.
I completely forgot about Chick-fil-A.
So we talk about brands, right? We talk about
So let's do Chick-fil-A then.
this time. So during this time, I was having a conversation with Elle just like 20 minutes before we started the show. And we were talking about a lot of these companies now because of the social climate that we're in, the protests and everything, and all of these cases and these murders of African-American people out here being caught on camera. And we were talking about how companies are making these statements, right? Everybody's trying to either clean up their brand or do things to show support for the Black Lives Matter movement and African-American and equality for all people, right? And we were talking about it, and I feel, this might be a little cynical, but I feel like most of the companies that are doing things are doing it for the clout. They're doing it to benefit their brand, to get cool points, to get more money, to get more fans, more subscribers, more consumers to buy their stuff. Like, oh, they're socially conscious. I want to do business with them. I want to give them my money. And I think, on the other hand, there's some companies that are doing it because of pressure. Like Wendy's comes out with a statement saying that Black Lives Matter, then people are looking at McDonald's and Burger King saying, oh, well, what do you have to say for it? Because it's like, if you don't say you're in support of this movement, then you're anti this movement. So companies are just jumping on and saying, oh yeah, we support, even if they really don't, just to kind of avoid the backlash. Mm-hmm. And it was an interesting story that came across with Chick-fil-A. So you see a lot of companies doing it differently. I think Wendy's put on Twitter, Black Lives Matter. They had some companies do banners, you know, about that. So different companies are going about it different ways, right? Some people are removing statues, changing business names. Chick-fil-A CEO did it in a very different way. At first, I thought we were actually going to get the Chick-fil-A open on Sundays for Black people only, but that turns out not to be true.
Oh, you thought they did that?
I thought that was a real thing. I definitely thought that was a real thing.
Yeah, I was hoping, but I understand. Religion over the racial stuff, I guess. But
yo, they would have did that out of there.
Yeah. Popeyes would have been done.
Yeah.
So interesting thing is, the Chick-fil-A CEO, Dan Cathy, urged white people to take action against racism amid a period of tension and protest in the U.S. following the death of Rashard Brooks, right? So he was on a roundtable last Sunday at a discussion at Passion City Church in Atlanta, Georgia, with Passion City founder Louis Giglio, right? And Lecrae, you know, the Christian rap artist Lecrae.
Right.
Too, right? So the CEO said that a dozen Chick-fil-A restaurants have been vandalized in the last week, but urged white people not to place blame on the vandals. Right? Cool. He talked about how, you know, it is affecting their communities, and he kind of seems to understand, right? So during this roundtable, the Chick-fil-A CEO talked about needing to be of, I guess, service to the African-American community. And during the round table, he washed Lecrae's feet.
He watched Lecrae. Oh, yes. Yes.
So I don't know where this fits on the doing enough or doing too much category, but I'm leaning towards doing too much. I feel like it was a little over the top. I understood the symbolism of it. It was just like slightly over the top.
I didn't understand it.
Huh?
I didn't understand it.
It was like,
how is it a blessing?
huh? How's I don't. So I think it was symbolic.
I guess I don't know. He felt the way when, as a lot of white people do, when you say that they have a white privilege, they misconstrue what we mean all the time when we say white privilege. They automatically assume that it's a money thing or a social status thing. No, it all comes down to you having a built-in benefit of the doubt. You know, when people see you in a store, they look at you and don't think twice about if you're going to steal or not, whereas they see that black guy looking at the jewelry a little too long, that's a problem. So
I thought that was very strange. I think it was supposed to be symbolic of how Jesus washed people's feet to show that I think he was trying to be the representation of white people all over, that they're not above black people. So by washing the feet, it showed humility and a bit of subservience. But
whose feet are being washed?
Lecrae's. You talking about the Bible or in?
No. The symbolism. Oh, you're saying he actually washed Lecrae's feet?
He washed Lecrae's feet.
Okay, but that was after the statement that he said slavery was a blessing.
Was that after? I don't know if the article did the timing. Did he say that slavery was a blessing?
Yeah. Okay. So there's video. There's video of this. Where let me see if I can pull it up real quick for you guys. Where the Chick-fil-A owner he speaks on how slavery was a blessing.
See, because it's not shown on this one. This is the roundtable that happened recently. So was that statement before?
No, I think it's the same one.
I feel like that's like a Kanye West type thing to say. You know what I mean? Like, seems like it was a choice to me. Like,
yeah. Insert foot in mouth.
Yeah, really. Yeah. 1 second, let's see if I can get this up.
I made you be prepared there, BarZ. Okay, you knew he was gonna be talking about Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Get down shot between the rapper, Pastor Louis Giglio, and Chick-fil-A CEO Dan Cathy. In what's been touted as an honest conversation about race and the church, Giglio attempted to rebrand white privilege as white blessing to make it more palatable to white people.
A lot of people call this white privilege, and when you say those two words, it just is like a fuse goes off for a lot of white people because they don't want somebody telling them to check their privilege. And so I know that you and I both have struggled in these days with, hey, if the phrase is trip up, let's get over the phrase and let's get down to the heart. Sure. Let's get down to what then do you want to call it? And I think maybe a great thing for me is to call it white blessing.
Now, of course, white blessing is trending on Twitter, with folks accurately pointing out the absurdity in the pastor's statement.
Okay, so my bad, I misspoke. He didn't call slavery a blessing. He said white privilege. White privilege.
And that was the that was the CEO or the pastor?
That was the CEO.
That was the CEO. Okay. So the pastor, I'm guessing, is African American, right? Pastor's black?
No, pastor's white also. The only black
Pastor's
person.
white. And Lecrae, I'm guessing, I don't know if they talked to him before or maybe after the statement. It had to be after, right? It couldn't have possibly been before, because there's a huge issue. And this is where I think that the intent was good. I think that he meant to try to reach out and try to bridge the gap to let white people know, hey, there are disparities, right? This white, what's the name, is real. I think.
White what?
That white privilege is real, I think. But it could have went the other way, and it could have been intentionally the other way too. Right. Only because when you say that something is a blessing, blessings are never bad. And blessings come from a divine higher.
All right, we are back. So Danger, you were talking about the white blessing.
Yeah, so what I was saying is that with them trying to interchange, like, oh, well, you don't like white privilege because of the response that white people get from it. Let's call it, a white blessing instead. Is that blessings are never bad. All right. When we say blessings, it stems from usually a divine place, right? Whatever your higher power is, that's where a blessing comes from. So for them to say it's a white blessing, if their intent is to try to bridge it and try to find a different phrase, that's not the way to go. I feel like, if anything, that actually is a way to reconcile and to kind of be like, okay, well, if it's a blessing, it's good. So it's good because we're chosen. There's no problem then.
I don't think they should find a different way to say it. It's white privilege. It is what it is. I think you should acknowledge it. Acknowledge that it exists, and then see how you can get away from there even being something called white privilege. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you say, okay, so if that's white privilege, then do they ask themselves, what is black privilege? What is considered black privilege? What is considered, Hispanic privilege? What is considered Asian privilege? Like, do they look at it like that, or do they just accept that there's white privilege and that's it?
Yeah, I think to your point, you talk about being accountable, and I think that's the biggest issue that we have in America is the accountability. And I think we're going to keep seeing things be the way they are until we get accountability. We see it in the judicial system a lot. We see that glaring, the accountability. And we see stuff like whenever white privilege comes up, whenever we start seeing statistics about how, many business loans are approved for white people versus black people. And it's never a situation where it's like, we need to look into this because there might be a racial disparity. It's just kind of like, oh, well, I guess they didn't have enough credit, or I guess this. And there's always different ways to find excuses for the root cause. And when we as a society say white privilege, we're not saying that it's your fault. I think that individual white people are like, I never did anything to any black people. I like black people. I got black friends. And they take it as an insult. It's not saying that you did anything wrong, but we're saying that there's a problem that you get a pass, that you get benefits of society because you're white, and that it is your responsibility with that pigment of your skin to go ahead and make sure that that is not the case. You know what I mean? That you're doing things to actually create actual equality. You didn't do anything to put this in place, right? You as an individual, 20-something white person out of college, you probably never had any issues with black people. That's cool. I'm not saying that it's your fault, but you have a responsibility where you see that you get a certain service at a restaurant and a table next to you is getting taken a lot longer, even though they were there first. To speak up and say, hey, why haven't they gotten their food? They were here first. And pointing things like that out. You have a responsibility because of your privilege. That privilege is a power, and you have to exercise. And you're responsible for exercising that power to create real equality. And it doesn't take a lot. I don't think it takes a lot. It takes a little bit of courage to let the person who was serving you at the restaurant say, hey, excuse me, I noticed that we were here, that they were there first, but they haven't gotten served. What's going on? It's a little bit of courage, just small instances like that. Nobody's asking you to march on Selma. You know what I mean? It's minor stuff like that every day where you see things that are not right to right those wrongs.
And the thing is that white privilege allows your voice to actually take precedence over a lot of us black people. Because when us black people say something, it's like, okay, yeah, whatever. But then a white person says the same thing, and it gets like a completely different level of attention.
Yeah. That's why it was so important, man. And it warmed my heart, and it showed the potential for what we could be as a country when we saw the protests. And there were so many white allies who were putting themselves in front, in between the cops and the black people, realizing that I may not get hurt. And if
Yeah.
I do get hurt, I'll probably
They're not going to
live.
come after me.
Right. But if my black friend is here, they might kill him. And knowing that I'm going to go ahead and be this beacon, I'm going to go ahead and be that wall, that buffer. That stuff like that is important, and it means a lot, man. It means a lot.
Oh, Danger, did you see 13th? No. Okay. I guess we'll talk about it on the next show. But
Hey,
yeah,
there?
we'll definitely talk about that. It was intense. It talks about the so-called institutional racism that people say doesn't exist, and how they found ways to legally keep slavery legal.
Okay.
They found like loopholes. They found loopholes in the amendments to keep
Danger, are you talking or?
keep slavery legal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like around the time of Juneteenth, when it was like the 2-year delay. So is it poised around that time, or?
No, this was around when the Constitution was written, when all those amendments were written.
Mm-hmm.
There was a loophole in that amendment, and at one point, people decided to take full advantage of it around the time that slavery was abolished.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't abolished for 2 more years after that.
Yep.
Yeah. Crazy.
And that's when that's where the slave patrol comes from, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, we definitely should get into it deeper after we watch it next week.
Definitely.
I'm not surprised. We could talk about it more and really get into it.
Yeah, it's intense. It's very.
Gee, I saw you just sent this article to WhatsApp.
Yeah, it just popped up in my news feed.
Yeah.
Thought it was very interesting. Let me read it out loud for the listeners and the viewers. It says, Trump tweets video with white power chant, then deletes it.
Yeah. I saw that this morning.
Yeah.
I sent it to
It
the
doesn't
group,
surprise me.
but yeah, he thanked these people, and in the video, so there's 2 groups of protesters. Not even necessarily 2 groups of protesters. There's a group of protesters, and then there's angry people attacking the protesters verbally.
Yeah.
You have one side saying, don't vote for Trump, say how horrible he is, and all the true things that are real. And then you have the other side coming along saying
That are like pro-Trump.
white power. White power. And for whatever idiotic reason, Trump thinks this is okay to retweet and thank these people for defending him, I guess.
I feel like does the article say Trump supporters? Because I feel like he probably saw that if it did, and that's what got him. He saw support for him, and he just go ahead and retweeted it. If that's true,
And didn't realize that it was a two-way argument, and I guess retracted his tweet.
Let me see the waves.
I think it was either that, or the other thing is that he saw the video, because he actually said, he put out a statement saying he never saw the video, he just retweeted it without watching.
Well, the video,
but
it says seniors from the villages in Florida protesting against each other. Okay, and then Trump's retweet with the message that he put: "Thank you to the great people of the villages. The radical left do nothing. Democrats will fall in the fall. Corrupt Joe is shot. See you soon."
Yeah, so he did watch it. No, so he did watch it, or he knew about it. He at least knew about the story about what was going on.
He can't even keep his lies together, because if he didn't watch it, how does he know what's going on in the video?
Right. And even that little bit kind of says that he knows something about what was going on. Because that title is too general for him not to be able to gather all of those details about what it's about. So I think that he knew, and I think it was intentional. I think what he did was he went on and he posted it, seeing how long it'll stay up, how long people will retweet it, how long it'll spread, and then took it off, but the damage is already done. It's very reminiscent of what happened in Charlottesville, where there were good people on both sides.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's.
And I just would take the opportunity to say that, if you're listening, those people are for all people. And I don't believe that all Republicans are the same when you talk about politics. I don't think all Republicans are the same. I don't believe all conservatives are the same. You could be someone, even though I don't agree, you might be someone who supports 45. I don't think that makes you an awful person. People have different reasons for it. But my thing is that when you look at something like this, are you someone who supports 45 because of the racist antics like this? Or are you someone who supports him because you believe that he did a good job with the economy, which he did not, but that's what you believe. You know what I mean? And I think it's times like this where you got to differentiate yourself from these people, these racist, white supremacist people. You can still support 45, but I really think when we look at who Trump supporters are, you don't want to be roped into that group. If that's not what you believe, if you're someone who believes in equality and you have no issues with black and brown people, you don't want to be associated with them no matter how you vote, come November. But just words to the wise.
Yeah.
That's not a good group.
Yeah, I thought that was very notable. Well, noteworthy to bring up on the show because it didn't really catch me by surprise, but does anything anymore? Anything that he says or does? So that's that situation. Let's segue that into I guess we'll talk about the situation with NASCAR. Bubba News. Bubba Wallace.
Bubba News.
With the noose in his garage. Thoughts?
BarZ, I'm gonna need you.
Oh, it's on me?
To turn point.
Yeah.
That's.
Oh, my bad. No,
that was the alley-oop.
I was getting my next article. My bad.
No, you good.
Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, all right.
Bubba Wallace is a biracial NASCAR driver. I don't know what number car he drives. I don't know.
43.
43?
It's called 43.
Right.
Okay.
There you go. Awesome. Danger with the news. There was a race coming up, a race that had happened. And prior to the race, I guess Bubba Wallace. So I guess with NASCAR, they have garages, which is kind of like equivalent to, I don't know, like team practice courts or whatever like that. Just wherever they store their vehicles at before the race, do everything they need to do to their vehicles to make sure they're ready for the track, right?
Right.
So apparently they don't all use the same garages consistently. Okay, so different drivers go to different garages, different times, it doesn't matter, whatever. So when Bubba went, now Bubba has been in the news for his stance on Black Lives Matters. He's been very helpful in bringing it into NASCAR using the Confederate flag, as well as just voicing and gathering other NASCAR drivers around the cause, right? So I guess one morning he goes into the garage that he's scheduled to be at, and there's a rope hanging from the garage door, tied similar to a noose. The authorities had been contacted, FBI looked into it. They checked all the cameras and seeing who could have been in and out of that garage. And they assumed, it had to be somebody from his team at some point initially. But come to find out, the actual rope, which is now called a pulley, had been there for several months, since I think last September. So that was the end of that. Now, it's interesting because this rope, when you look at the rope, it's a noose.
It's definitely a noose.
I think the FBI is still calling it a noose, even though they said that there was no hate crime. They still use the word noose. They said, yeah, it's a noose.
I mean, because that's what it is. Like, it's tied as a noose. It looks like a noose.
And also, for those who don't know, like, a noose is like a type of knot. It's a type of way that you tie a rope. So there's different ways to tie ropes, especially if you ever see like the Boy Scouts, they have all types of stuff where you go camping. Different ways to tie ropes. A noose is kind of distinguished.
Very specific.
It's a loop, and then there's additional rope that curls up that's pretty, it's usually pretty, thick. So
right.
Yeah.
So so that has come out, and people are now looking at this situation similar to a Jussie Smollett situation, which I don't think is fair.
Not at all.
I don't think it's fair, and I think there's something to be said about the fact that this noose could have been hanging in his garage, whether it was for Bubba or not. The fact that it could have been hanging in his garage, knowing the culture behind NASCAR, nobody thought that maybe that's not a good look. Maybe we should just tie this a little differently. Maybe that might look weird.
I think that the noose was tied with that intent. I think that they thought it made, at the time, whoever tied it thought it was funny. And they thought that's the culture of NASCAR. Not just what we see and perceive, but obviously what actually still kind of goes on, the Confederate statues, the flags, and stuff like that. I just want to say that I commend NASCAR. You know, we talked about people and companies doing things for the right reason, the wrong reasons. I don't care either way in this situation, because I feel like it's good marketing for diversity. It's good marketing for change, whether they believe it or not. I commend them for what they did, because they didn't just take it upon themselves to make decisions. They saw the news, and also to make sure what's name didn't notify the NASCAR. Bubba didn't notify NASCAR. It was another driver that actually notified NASCAR. NASCAR went ahead, took the situation, shot it right up to the FBI. They didn't take it on themselves to try to make a determination if a hate crime happened or not, because who are they to say? Who are they to say? So they sent up the FBI. FBI came investigating and felt that it was not a hate crime because the intent was not there. Someone didn't do it knowing that Bubba was going to be there and to send a message to him. I get it. I think that that's fair. But for people to be upset because like, oh, you know, it was just like a hoax. Like, no, it was a serious allegation.
Right.
That we found wasn't real. Like, that's what we need to do. Facts matter. We need to be able to say, you know what, this could be something. Let's investigate. It turned out to be nothing. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
But what happened from that, though, the biggest thing is that there was a lot of good conversations that needed to happen, especially for NASCAR that's seen as a predominantly white sport. You know what I mean? It's good to know that NASCAR may not be what we thought it was. May not be. We'll have to see how things go forward. But it's comforting for someone like myself. I'm a race car enthusiast. I love seeing races. You know, motorsports is pretty huge. I used to watch a lot more than I do now. And I've never really been into NASCAR, mostly because it's, you know, most of the tracks are kind of just the circle. But the concern about being brown at a NASCAR event also was an issue for me. You know, we live out here in Florida, man. Daytona is like maybe an hour and a half from us. It's not far at all. I would love to go to a live, you know, sporting event like NASCAR, but I would be concerned about how safe could I be? Mm-hmm. You know, going through crowds of people, how will I be treated? And, you know, with them making a statement and seeing how fans were supportive and stuff, it makes me a little bit more comfortable to give that a go, to give it a try to see the experience. So I appreciate how NASCAR handled it. And I'm not surprised about the backlash that they're getting with some people comparing it to Jussie Smollett. There was, I got to get the name of the race car. There was a son of one of the race car drivers who talked about how, you know, NASCAR completely overreacted. It was awful. And, you know, a sport they loved their whole life, they're no longer getting support. So two things to that. One, obviously there's some racial tension from that person. They got some issues, some prejudices there. And two, bullshit. Like you're gonna all of a sudden stop watching NASCAR and watch what?
Yeah.
You're not gonna go to NASCAR events anymore? What are you gonna do? There's no alternative to NASCAR. You're gonna go watch local, you know, the what's name derbies, the Outlaw Series derbies where they run around like the mud track. That's what you're gonna do for real? You gonna get them same kicks, some same thrills? Get out of here with that shit, man.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're into illegal street racing, then yeah.
Not the same though.
Not
the same. So he might say that, and he may not watch one event, or no one's gonna know, right? You're at home, no one's gonna know if he's watching or not. So he could be put on a bold statement, but you know. So I'll tell you what, he might go ahead and miss out on a Talladega or like something like that, but he'll be back.
That's what it was, Talladega.
Talladega, yeah, he'll be back. He'll be back. He will not stay away. So I think for that's more like a fear thing. He want to go ahead and say that so other people can be like, yeah, we're going to boycott NASCAR. NASCAR is going to lose money, and then they're going to reverse course. It's not looking like that, bro. That type of negativity doesn't look like it's going to work.
Yeah. That's interesting, man. I unfortunately, it's great that NASCAR is rallying behind Bubba Wallace like this and whatnot. You won't catch me watching any NASCAR though. It won't happen.
Oh no, I never watched NASCAR. I'm sorry. No, I can't say it. Let me say I don't never watch NASCAR. I watch NASCAR when they go to road tracks because I don't like the circle, but I do like the road tracks where they have to make lefts and rights.
Oh, they
those
actually
are really good. Yeah, they have some of those. Like they'll go to like Laguna Seca and stuff like that. I like those. So, but this situation almost made me want to buy like apparel. I was thinking about getting a hat or a shirt.
Really
Thinking about it. You know,
Okay, well,
it was going to be a Bubba. It was obviously going to be like a Bubba Wallace thing, or like a, maybe a Jeff Gordon, like a throwback one, a Dale Earnhardt Jr. throwback one, something like that.
I mean, I still need to see one of us in the driver's seats. You know, I mean, I appreciate
Bubba
Bubba, but yeah, half of them. You know, half of them.
Bro, don't do that. Okay,
listen. That's the same argument they use. That's the same argument they use with Obama. Cat Williams was like,
yeah,
you ain't gonna get no whole nigga in the White House just anytime soon. Okay, Obama is half nigga, and that's why he's getting the praise that he gets because that.
But he was raised. But Obama was raised as a nigga though.
He was.
Bubba Wallace.
Is that the differentiator? That's what makes it different. And I'm surprised you're saying that, bro, because he looks more like you with your light skinned ass than he does like us. So for you not to support him, you see? They can't even support themselves. They can't even support each other, dude. They can't even support each other, dude. That's crazy, man. BarZ want to see a real dark skinned dude. You want to see a Wesley Snipes type.
I'm just saying, man.
Where you can't even see him through the car. It's just a helmet.
I know. It's like, look at those tits make it look like nobody's in the car. All right. Let's hit up NBA. Florida, we did it, and then close with the Elijah. Oh no. We can't close with the Elijah because we have the soulmate thing. So let's hit up NBA and Florida. We did it.
Okay. All right. Well, so we're gonna go Florida. We did it.
Florida.
Fucking amazing. We're great. And just so you understand how great we are. So just this past week alone, we've set several records with this COVID thing. I don't know if you guys understand, like, we are like champions of this COVID shit. Like, we've three-peated, not even on purpose. Right? So, on Monday, we had 2,926 new cases of COVID. Tuesday.
But before you start,
yes.
I just want to say we were consistently wrestling around 900 to 1,000 cases per day before we had this amazing week. Go ahead, do you think? So 2,000 on Monday.
2,000 on Monday. Tuesday, we jumped up. 3,289 cases announced.
Jeez.
Wednesday, jumped up again. We just keep going. Can't stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
5,508 cases on Wednesday. Thursday, brought it down just a little bit. It's like, hey, 5,000 cases announced on Thursday. You know what the cases were on Friday? Do you know what the cases were on Friday?
5,100. We're just gonna buzz in. We're gonna buzz in. 5.
Oh no, you think that, right? No. You're lowballing us.
Lowballing. I didn't believe. I'm sorry.
We reach for higher. Okay, we don't go lower. When they go low, we go high.
Yo.
So on Friday, officially, the record was set for 8,942 new cases.
5 to 8.
From 5,000.
Almost 9.
That almost 9.
8, 9.
That's crazy.
We almost hit 9. And then you know what happened? Saturday happened. Saturday, we hit 9,500 new COVID cases. And great. So that Saturdays, for those of you who are watching maybe on a Monday or on a Sunday night, Saturday for us was yesterday. We're currently filming this on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So the cases have not been announced yet for Sunday. So just wait.
We're going to break 10,000. We're going to break 10,000. We're going to break 10,000.
You think so?
Yeah, because you know what it is. All of the numbers are delayed. All the numbers are delayed by like a day or two.
Right now, the state's total numbers are 132,545.
132,000?
But we should stop testing.
Oh, absolutely. Because that's the problem.
Numbers will go away.
That's the problem. Yeah. Absolutely.
Isn't that what number 45 said? Where he's like, if you stop testing, that
what cases?
As many numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like if you don't get tested for AIDS, you don't have AIDS.
It's kind of like if you stop talking about racism, racism will no longer exist.
It's like if you believe that your car payments are not due, they won't repossess your shit
at all. At all. It's funny.
All of those things are accurate.
Yeah.
Man.
So with this being said, I'm sorry. Were you gonna say something?
No. I was just saying that our pal Soulpatch might jump in, but we'll see. Go ahead.
Okay. So with this being said, so let's rewind a little bit. So Thursday, when we announced that we had, let me go back to my numbers. Thursday, when we broke the record and announced that we had a total of 8,000 COVID cases, the NBA decides to go ahead and sign off on the league restarting in Orlando in late July.
And
that's when they signed off on it.
Did we get confirmation though? Because if the numbers was reported in the afternoon, but they signed the agreement on Monday morning, you know.
Well, let me tell you how I received this news. Okay, so first I got the CNN update. Florida breaks record.
Right.
Yeah.
16 NBA players test positive for COVID.
Wait. How many?
16.
Sorry.
Then I got the next update. The NBA signs off for the league to restart July 30th in Orlando. Back to back to back.
What's going on, Soulpatch? Good to see you.
How you doing, brother?
I'm good.
This nigga's always eating.
Yo, Soulpatch said it's your fault. You be catching me at lunch every time.
Yo,
that's hilarious. So wait, so they signed off on this NBA relaunch in Orlando, even knowing the rising numbers.
Even knowing they signed off.
And how many players did you say were
right before it even starts? Right now there are 16 players with COVID.
Sounds very irresponsible. Very irresponsible.
I was surprised. I was definitely anticipating them to announce that we're just gonna end it. We're not even gonna try to bring the season back, especially with them planning on coming to Florida and the way Florida's been acting.
Yeah, like I know I read that they're doing it based on numbers in the cities, right? So they're looking at the numbers around Orlando where they're gonna have a bubble and trying to use that data. I'm not sure what the numbers look like in Orlando, if they're spiking if they're open the way we're open down here in South Florida, it's going to be an issue. Yeah. I understand that Disney shopping plazas are open, so if there's more people coming into Orlando,
I mean, of course,
normal.
everybody's wearing masks, but still, it's still, you know, still a little bit of a hazard.
They're not, bro. I wish they were.
Well, they're enforcing the masks.
Now they are, as of like what, Friday after 5. Like now they are. You know, my issue was like even before even before the numbers were spiking up, I wasn't on board with their plan because this whole bubble thing was like, oh well, we're gonna make this bubble, but your family can come in and out.
Yeah.
And my family can go down there to the Disney shopping plazas. My family can go down to the beach. My family
And they come back to
and come to the safety bubble.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Bro, it's gonna be interesting, man. They I was listening to the radio and they were talking about how actually ESPN was covering it, and they were talking about baseball specifically and the need for these sports to actually come back, because a lot of these owners, at least for baseball and I think football, I think basketball is not quite the same. But these owners, they got billions of dollars. You know, they got other businesses that they're focusing on during this pandemic. They're focusing on keeping those businesses profitable or minimizing losses. And their sports teams that they own are more like hobbies. And then they don't really produce money like that. You know what I mean? They don't live off of what they make from these sports teams they own. So thinking about that, I'm like, all right, so if that's the case, you know, I don't think the NBA is quite set like that. I'm sure that there's a few billionaires, but I don't think everybody's stacked up like that. So I'm wondering if they actually need to come back, you know, with their deals with the networks and NBA TV and all these things. I wonder if they need to actually come back or not. Because if I see numbers like that, and I know that there's a chance that this could fail miserably. I'm going to be disappointed if I can't see competitive playoff basketball with a lot of high-profile names like I normally do, just because they're trying to provide me with something. Like I said, I'm good with
There's more money
playoff.
There's more money to be lost in the NBA than there would be, say, the MLB or Soulpatch. You think so?
Lost to who is the question? Because, you know, baseball contracts are like guaranteed. NBA contracts really are not.
Right, but I mean, we're talking about sponsors, right? We're not talking about the players, because I mean, players they even had the option to not come to Orlando at all, not be penalized. So I think the players are okay. We're talking about sponsors. So you think there's more money to be lost in the NBA than there would be, say, like again, baseball or even the NFL?
NFL, that's still iffy. They're still debating on whether they want to reopen the season.
Mm-hmm.
It's still early, so they still can, hopefully by the time NFL officially starts in preseason, they'll be able to continue the regular season, but that's just optimistic.
That's less than 2 months. I don't see how
I don't see it. I see there being a huge increase in esports. I know I'll be back for the 2020 season of Madden online. So all of the rookies that were drafted, I'm looking forward to seeing them virtually to see what they can do. There's a lot in the combine, so I'm hoping that their ratings are pretty accurate.
Good. Yeah.
I just want to say I just want to say I'm mad. I'm mad at all those people causing numbers to spike, making the pandemic even longer, making it harder for me to go do things I want to do and sports I want to see. Y'all selfish.
Selfish.
Well, we'll go upstairs since you're on the call.
I'll go in there then.
All right. Yeah. So
all right. I'll be right back.
yeah, let's mute your microphone. So
Yeah, you could. You know, you have the option to turn your.
No, you can
video
turn
off,
your
too.
camera off. You can turn your
okay.
camera off. Turn your camera off. There we go. There we go.
All right. All learning,
Hold
we're all
on.
growing and learning. So.
There we go. I just muted him.
Okay. All right.
just in case, we hear something we don't want to hear.
I don't know where that guy was.
Yeah, that looked. Anyway, well then, all right. So let's get into the heavy stuff. Elijah McClain, another one.
Yeah.
For those that are not fully informed, BarZ, can you let people know just a brief synopsis as to what that situation is?
Elijah McClain was a 23-year-old African-American. He seemed like a very special kid, extremely happy and cheerful.
Optimistic.
Very optimistic. People loved him. He loves people. Polite, It didn't seem like he caused trouble at all. And unfortunately, a year ago in Aurora, Colorado, in the same place, I don't know if you guys remember where the Dark Knight shooting was at the movie theater.
Yeah.
Same city. So a year ago, he had an interaction with police officers, and he ended up dead. As per numerous of times when it comes to individuals of color coming in contact with police. So on this night, Elijah McClain, he was out making a trip to the store to get some snacks for his nieces and nephews at his crib. He was just out getting some snacks from the gas station. He had a full jacket on, and he had a mask on, a ski mask. He wore a ski mask, and his family says, he dressed so.
It was like really cold at that time, right? Because Colorado was really cold.
He was also anemic, so.
Right.
Easily, which is why he was covered up.
Yeah, and it was a half face mask. Yeah, it was a half face mask, so his eyes were clearly visible. It was like this part was clearly visible, and the rest was covered, so it wasn't like a full ski mask with just the eye holes and the mouth hole cut out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So police get a call. 911 gets a call from a civilian saying, "Hey, there's a strange guy walking on the sidewalk with the jacket and a ski mask, and he's waving his hands in the air, acting very suspicious." And the 911 operator, she asked him, "Is he posing any type of threat?" Is he saying? It's like, I don't know if he's a bad guy or he could be a good guy.
No, I didn't ask you what type of guy it was. I asked, what is he doing? Is he posing a threat?
That was the question.
Like, what, does he fucking recycle? What do you mean is he a bad guy or a good guy?
Right. He's on the sidewalk waving his hands around. So, okay, so nothing in that conversation says this guy's posing a threat or anything. But the operator thinks, it's worth police looking into.
Of course.
Whatever. Whatever. So I've seen the body cam footage, and it shows Elijah walking along the sidewalk, minding his business, walking, and a police officer starts approaching him and he's telling him to stop. Elijah, he continues.
Bob, you there?
And sorry about that. Yeah, I'm here.
And BarZ is back.
Yeah, I'm here. Hold on one second.
I thought it was a connection problem you having?
Huh?
Connection problem?
No, I was getting a call. People keep calling me.
Oh, okay. I know you can do that.
So yeah, police approaches him, ask him to stop, and Elijah, he's kind of persistent on still walking, and the cop gets a little bit more.
This sounds very familiar.
Yeah, the cop gets a little bit more
given instructions to not follow somebody, and they follow him anyway.
Yeah, and the cop, gets a little bit more authoritative and asks him to stop again. And Elijah asks him, "Why are you stopping me? Why are you stopping me? I'm going home. I'm trying to go home. I'm not doing anything. I'm trying to go home." And the cop is like, "Well, I'm stopping you because one, I asked you to stop and you're not stopping, and two, you're looking very suspicious." It's like, "Also, I'm just trying to get home. I'm going home. Please leave me alone. I'm going home. And at this point, I don't want to say a struggle ensues, more of the cop trying to apprehend him. And of course, Elijah's resisting because he's not doing anything wrong. You have no reason to confront me. You have no reason to arrest me. You have no reason to keep me here. I'm telling you where I'm going. I'm telling you my name. I'm telling you what I'm doing. I'm going home. So, you know,
I understand that he's also on the spectrum, like
Spectrum.
needs. Yeah, like when they approached him, he said that I'm an introvert. I'm not doing anything wrong.
This was once they started to get a little bit more aggressive with him. You know, then he started to say, "My name is Elijah McClain. I'm an introvert. Please respect my boundaries that I have set." You know, these are the things that he's saying, and the way that he's talking.
It's like it was rehearsed. It was like this is what you say when you're in trouble.
For him, it might have been rehearsed.
Yeah,
that portion of it. Yeah, for him, it might have been rehearsed.
I remember that. Yeah.
And you know, reading the entire transcript of what happened, you know, it goes from him saying, you know, his name and you know that he's an introvert and that he's different, and you know, respect his boundaries, to him then apologizing. You know, asking for forgiveness if he did anything wrong, because he didn't do anything wrong. But at this point, you guys are being so aggressive with me. I must have done something wrong, so I'm sorry.
I'm apologizing, even if there's nothing that I know that I did.
You know what I mean? And it's so heartbreaking to hear, man. So eventually, you know, they get him down on the ground. They have him handcuffed, and you know, he's still, you know, asking questions. He's still moving around and stuff like that because he's scared at this point. So. I don't know if it's 2 or 3 cops. I think it was 2 cops that I saw in the body cam. They're on him, and you can even watch in the video. One of the cops tells another cop, "Hey, dude, move your camera," because they're showing Elijah on the floor on his side. He's throwing up at this point, vomiting. You know, all of these things, saying that he cannot breathe. You know, all these things are happening at this moment. And they're still trying to calm him down, but he's having a panic attack.
Yeah.
You know, at this point, this kid's having a panic attack. So they're trying to calm him down and stuff. Paramedics get there. Paramedics give him a ketamine shot to calm him down. They don't know if he's on any type of drugs. They don't know what type of medication he takes. None of this stuff.
All these that are precautions that they should have taken as medical professionals, but we'll leave that alone.
Asking questions, but they don't ask him shit. They just give him a shot. The kid has 2 heart attacks on his way to the hospital, goes into cardiac arrest, and eventually becomes brain dead. He's kept on life support for 3 days, and they have to let him go. 23 years old.
Yeah. And before people try to attack this character, he didn't have any type of criminal history.
None.
He was a violinist.
Yo, he played the violin for cats, stray cats. Played the violin for stray cats. Like the pictures.
How much of a threat could you be if that's what you do?
The pictures I've seen, these videos I've seen of this kid, man, it is so sad. It's so heartbreaking because it's like, man, it does not matter. Like in the spectrum of a black man, from innocence to criminal, it does not matter where you fall at in between that. You're treated the same exact way.
Now, I'm very curious as to what people like Laura Ingraham and Candace Owens, I would like to know what their excuse is going to be for this particular situation, because they're very vocal when it comes to somebody that they assume have a criminal background. Oh, George Floyd was a criminal. He was not a good person. Okay, point taken. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're not. What do you have to say about this situation? And how are you going to justify it this time? How are you going to defend the police this time?
Yeah. How does this kid, who, again, didn't do anything, end up dead, versus a kid who shoots up an entire fucking movie theater, end up in handcuffs, no scratches, nothing.
Death penalty, that's all they give him. But, like, even a death penalty, if you think about it,
he still lives longer than Elijah McClain.
Exactly. Death penalty is like an injection. Hello. Hi. I'm sorry, that's my niece.
So it's just it's just a sad story, man. It's a really sad story.
Yeah.
Hi.
Oh boy.
Hey, David.
Visiting my niece. She's here.
You understand like that, brother? Like,
Huh?
Huh?
no, I don't know if you want to show your family like that on here. What not?
No, it's fine.
Is
He just
Is it though? All right. So
No, I'm just giving.
Oh
camera
yeah,
up.
and then for the illogical claim thing, the cops were acquitted. Like this was something that occurred like a year ago, a little bit over a year ago.
Yeah.
And the cops ended up getting acquitted. They found no wrongdoing. They couldn't determine the cause of death was undetermined because he could have died from the ketamine shot, or he could have died from the physical force because he has bruises on his body.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is that it was one or the other though, because one of the things was that he may have died from natural causes. No, he didn't, because he didn't drop dead when the cops pulled up. So it could not have been of natural causes,
Right.
not truly natural causes. So it's just crazy that nobody was held responsible. Not the paramedics who showed up, not the cops.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's just, and it's like another blind eye turned to that situation because that happened so long ago. And why is it a lot of us are just now hearing about it? You know what I mean? Like I don't know, man. I don't know.
I feel like it's because of what's going on now. I think that people are looking, basically to BarZ's point, when we were talking about the last podcast about justice for previous victims.
Yeah.
And I think it's just indicative of how many more cases there are than what we see. Things like this that probably happened in local Colorado news that didn't make it nationally, that people are looking at, hey, wait a minute, let me pick this out of the newspaper, let me pick this out. So as often as it's happening on a national level, the stuff we've seen on CNN and MSNBC and these places, it's happening a lot more often, on a local level, city level, on a state level. So I think it goes to show, and to BarZ's point where he was talking about before, you're right. We need to dig up these cases. I think the past does matter. Originally, I said that we need to work about moving forward, but I think part of that, to your point, is you're right. We need to go back to look at these situations to find out, one, what went wrong, how can we change it, and to provide retroactive justice for some of these cases.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think it sets a precedent for not only should you not be doing it moving forward if you're in law enforcement, but that if you did it before, that you might still get your day in court.
Yeah.
Justice can be served. So I think that he was right about that. He was right about that.
It's unfortunate. Soulpatch, you got anything you want to add?
I have one story I want to say. Well, one thing I want to say about that is I think we talked about this before. Like, police are capable of making better judgment, especially when they're even all four of us can agree. Okay, I understand someone finding that like Elijah walking around with a ski mask on a little suspicious.
Okay, so hold on. So this is the thing. Is it suspicious during a pandemic where everyone's wearing masks on a regular day? And it's not cold. It's not cold. It's Colorado.
It wasn't during the pandemic. What?
It wasn't during the pandemic.
Is it suspicious if it's cold? If there's snow? If the temperature causes for it?
No, I understand that. Like I lived in a cold area before, so I understand. I know what I'm getting at is I can see how someone. Now I'm talking about the cop. I'm talking about the person that first reported it.
Here's my issue with the person that reported it. Okay, whether the person looks suspicious or not, why are you following this person instead of just leaving it in the hands of, hey, I saw such and such, They're going in such and such a direction, and that's that. Why add all these unnecessary details of, oh, I don't know what he's doing. He looks suspicious. Like he was trying to hammer the point home of trying to amplify how suspicious this kid looked.
Right.
I'm getting to
I'm
getting to that. Like, I can understand how someone, like the person I called, can see him looking that way.
Okay.
I can see that. But, you know, that's when you leave it to the cops to decide for themselves if that person looks suspicious, if that person really is, you know, what they say it is. So, and they went over there. But I feel like, you know, once the kid just identify himself, like, listen, my name is this, I'm just going home, I'm just walking, it's cold, I mean, you know, he like, the kid didn't he felt like, I would have never stopped too, like, why are you stopping me? I'm just walking home. I mean, yeah, fine, I'm wearing a ski mask, but I'm just.
The thing about it, though, Soulpatch, we shouldn't have to do all that.
Yeah.
I mean, there was nothing suspicious about that kid outside of the fact that he had on a mask.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
So what? You can't see the person's face who's standing on the corner wailing their arms?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what happened if he had AirPods in and then he was dancing?
Yeah.
I like to dance, man. I'll
I understand it, but like,
and I'll dance
no,
while
I
I'm listening
mean,
to my music.
the thing is, I'm going off of just like anyone's logic. Even like, if no one's gonna go that far deep and think, oh, he's harmless, but they're gonna think, okay, people are not going to see all of that part. They're just gonna see, okay, he's walking around with a mask on. What's his deal? So I'm gonna call the cops. Like,
But if it's cold,
no,
hear me out.
That shouldn't be, though.
It shouldn't be. I mean, in a perfect world, it shouldn't be. But we don't live in that society. Some people are just gonna see one thing. They're gonna see a guy in a mask. Like, I'm a security guard.
Okay, so let me ask you, as a security guard, right? As a security guard, it's not like he's just standing on a corner, right?
Right.
And let's say he is. If he's doing something nefarious, why would I, as a criminal, if I'm a criminal, right? If I'm trying to do bad stuff, wear a full ski mask and just be out in the street where I'm visible?
And broad
I
understand.
You know what I mean?
Like, the thing is, I get what you're saying, but if I'm a security guard and I don't ask you either way, it looks bad on me, because I had to at least ask you what the deal is. If you're not
he's in public. It's a public street. It's a sidewalk.
It doesn't matter, because the thing is,
walking down the street.
It doesn't. No, I'm just saying it doesn't matter.
So for you as a security guard, if somebody comes to your property that you're securing, with the mask on, you have that right to ask them to identify themselves, because they're on your property and you're security for that property. So somebody that you're unable to identify, you have the right to approach that person and ask them to identify themselves, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so if you're a security guard and you're walking home, and you walk past somebody who has a mask on, but you can't see them, is it your right to ask them to identify themselves?
Repeat that question again. I'm sorry.
If you're walking home from your security job,
you're off duty and you're walking home. You're not even near the location that you're providing security for. You're walking home and you walk past somebody that happens to have a ski mask on. Is it your right to have them identify themselves to you?
I would still question them either way, because I still just want to know if if you're not doing anything, then I'm just going to ask you, like, hey,
but no, see, but now here's the question. Do you really think that they're going to admit anything to you if they are doing something nefarious?
Possibly not.
And additionally, doesn't that put you in harm? Because you're saying that as a civilian, at this point,
I've been in situations like it. All right, I'll give you an example. When I was a security guard, there was a situation where I saw two kids go near a car. Now, at your
location, though. At your location, you're secure.
Yes, they were
on duty.
On duty.
For your job.
On my job.
Okay.
I was working and I saw two kids just hanging around the car. I didn't go at them aggressively. I didn't go at them like super hardcore or aggressive. I just walked up to them and they just took off. So that already assumed, okay, they were up to some mischief. They were up to something. And when they were trying to break into some car, a raggedy car for some reason, but a car nonetheless. They were trying to break into a car and they ran off, and I had to call the police.
Okay. With that situation though, Soulpatch.
Yes.
What were they doing that made you approach them?
I was just walking and they just ran up.
So you didn't even approach them. You were just walking and they saw you and ran.
Right.
All right. So that's different then.
Yeah. But my point is it's easy for someone to just like maybe be a little bit feeling like, okay, something's a little off here. And they might want to just,
So then the question is,
like,
who's more at fault? The person that called the police or the police officers?
I would say the police officer, and I'll tell you why. Because this also goes into me, security guard, this also goes into something more personal. Like, if someone looks at their window and they see someone that looks suspicious, you're not going to see all of the whole spectrum of what the guy's doing. You're not going to see him listen to music. You're not going to see him, because you don't know how far distance this person is. All you see is so far just enough to see a guy in a ski mask. Now, he could be doing nothing, or he could be doing something harmful. Who knows? You really don't know, but you're going to call just out of suspicion. The same situation happened. The same. No, hear me out. I'm getting to that. The same situation.
But you're in the neighborhood, right? You're a concerned citizen. Right. You're a concerned citizen.
You have the right to, like, at least call the police. Sure. Just call the police. Not follow them. Not be like, just follow them. Not do all that. Just call the police. Let them look into it. Like, if odds are, if he's at least walking still, and the cop, even when the cops pull up, he's obviously not trying to do anything wrong. He's just happened to be dressed a certain way, but he's not trying to do anything wrong. Because if I see a cop car and I'm doing something, wrong, I'm dipping, of course. Like, it happened to me. Like, one time I was walking in a neighborhood. I was, like, in a very bad way. I was drinking. I was just walking the neighborhood, just walking. I had, like, a hoodie on, and a person from the neighborhood saw me and called the police. Now, the police, they drove up to me. They pulled up to me, and they just asked me questions. I just told them what the deal was. And they were like, okay, fine, well, we'll take you home, and blah, blah, blah. So that's what my point is. Cops can make the better judgment on identifying someone as a suspect, or just, he just happened to just be in the wrong, just dressed the wrong way in a strange neighborhood.
I agree. I definitely agree with you, Soulpatch. And I gotta say two things. The one thing I gotta say is you're right. It's the cops' responsibility. They are supposed to serve and protect. It's their responsibility. As a concerned citizen, you have the right to call because you might think something's up. But how the cop handles it is really the deciding factor of these news events. The second thing is, were you walking drunk around the streets?
I was actually around the same age Elijah was at the time.
When you were just like drinking on the streets, walking around?
Yeah, I was at the time. I got out of a really bad relationship, and I was just in a very dark place. And I was drinking a lot, and I was just walking around, and yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So with that scenario though, Soulpatch, that scenario could have went sideways really fast, right? You could have they could have called police because they saw a man walking with a hoodie in a bad neighborhood. They called police. You could have been approached by police in a state that where, maybe you might have been a little belligerent, or, just not in your regular state because you had a little too much to drink or whatever like that. Say that cop would have gotten aggressive with you. You know what I mean? It's just the way things play out and the way they shouldn't play out. Elijah McClain, he should not have been approached. That guy should not have called the police because he saw somebody at night walking with a ski mask and waving their hands.
The thing is, it's like, it sounds like you should, like, even when I got pulled up by the cop, I didn't get mad because I understood that, like, I can understand why someone else wouldn't. Because no one else is going to put that logic, like, okay, maybe he's harmless. People are going to, people are going to,
You're walking down the street. You're walking down the street in just a hoodie.
Because I've never seen you before.
Yeah, exactly.
People in my neighborhood don't wear hoodies.
It's like, yeah,
that's not okay. That's not okay.
No, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying I understand it looks suspicious to someone. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. It looks suspicious even if I'm dressed in a way that's like very.
What
here's my thing. Here's my issue, right? I highly doubt that entire day that he was the only person that walked by with a mask on. If it was a cold day, there was snow everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
I seriously doubt that he was the first person he saw the entire day wearing what he was wearing in a location of that climate.
So this is the thing. I think this is the real issue, and we have to be careful about where we're focusing the outrage, right, and where we focus on the energy. We are concerned about the people who are calling the cops on Black people, whether it's for a legitimate concern or if they're just trying to pull like a Karen type situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're calling. They can call a million times. It doesn't matter. What matters is that when those cops get on the scene, how they handle it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
We see a lot of videos with the Karens, and they're calling, the person shows up and be like, this person's not doing anything wrong. Don't call me again. Those type of situations is what really matters. If you're a concerned citizen, if you're someone who's just bored and has nothing to do and you see somebody and you're like, I'm going to call the cops on them because that's what gets you off, you go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do it. Do it a million times. But those cops that need to show up need to handle it appropriately. A million out of a million.
Yeah, exactly. I don't fault whoever.
If I tell you go ahead and call those cops, that those cops aren't going to come and question me and harass me for just being here.
If the scenario is different, I'm not wearing a hoodie, or if say another Black person is not wearing a hoodie. Doesn't even say Black. Let's just say like just a person's not wearing a hoodie or a ski mask. It's a clear sunny day or night or a clear night, and someone's walking, then yeah, it is more of like when someone sees me walking, it's like kind of like one of those like, no.
That's what I'm saying. That made you suspicious.
It doesn't look suspicious because I'm just walking. Anyone can. There's nothing wrong with that. But if I'm dressed a certain,
you're walking with a hoodie.
Like a hoodie is one thing, but a ski mask is kind of extreme because because I would like a ski. Like I don't fault Elijah for how he dressed. He shouldn't. That is what it is. He had to do it. He had to do what he had to do. But it's just, it's understandable. People are going to look at that and see and just assume something. But that's why you let the cops define for themselves what's, what is. Don't just, the assumption makes sense, but like you don't really got to leave it to the police. The police handled Elijah horribly. You could, even if Elijah is giving you a little bit of static back at you, what's he gonna do? Like he's just a kid. I mean, he was 23, but like still, like just he's giving you everything. He's answering your questions. He has no. He doesn't have to stop for you. He has no.
So
he doesn't have to stop for you. He doesn't. He answered your questions. He answered.
Especially he identified himself.
He identified himself.
Clear. He presented no threat. He had no weapon.
Once I've told you my information, once I've told you what the business is, once I told you exactly what I'm doing, you pretty much all the suspicions you had are like you wash your hands of it. It's done. Like I don't
think the apprehension was necessary. You know what I mean?
The apprehension was not even necessary.
Exactly. He said everything.
You asked me a question, I answered it, and I'm out.
Yeah.
So this is just the last thing I'm gonna say. BarZ, this is for you. So in that situation, right, you wouldn't want to be stopped. You wouldn't want to stop walking, right? If the police officer approached you and said, hey, could you stop for a second? You kept going, right? And they said, hey, can you do me a favor and stop for a second? We got to call. There's some suspicious activity. I just want to check it out so I can go home. I don't want problems with nobody. Could you stop and just let me know where you're going? Would you be more open to saying, hey, man, I live around the corner? Or would you still be like, I don't have to answer your questions?
Nah, it's all about demeanor. It's about demeanor. It's about the approach. You know what I'm saying? Just Friday, I came out of my apartment, and I looked on the ground, and it was a cell phone on the ground. And I know people usually, you know, they run through here or whatever like that, jogging in the morning and stuff like that. You know, I don't want, if I drop my phone, I would like for somebody to return it. So I picked the phone, I put it in my car, went to work, knew I was getting off early, came back home about noon, went to the front office to drop it off. I get there, front office has a sign on that says closed. So I turn around, I say whatever, turn around, and a cop comes, right? Cop comes, he's going to the office, and he sees that it's closed, and he's knocking on the door and whatnot. And I'm waiting just to see if somebody just happens to come out. Nobody comes out. He starts to leave. He speaks to me. I speak back. He asks me how I'm doing. Good, man. How are you? Good. Tells me to be safe, so you do the same. Positive things. Nothing wrong with that at all. You have officers who have common sense and who know how to talk to people. Mm-hmm. And then you have those dicks who use their authority, or because they wear a fucking badge, they feel like, you know, just because I say something, you have to respond to me. No, I don't have to respond.
Exactly.
I'm definitely.
That's what my point was. It's like, you don't have to talk. Like, a badge is a badge, but you don't. Honestly, I don't have to kneel and like act all like scared when I see your badge. Like,
absolutely.
But here's another thing that I have a problem with. Right.
Go ahead.
As a cop, why are you so afraid? Like, let me rephrase the question. Why are you a cop if you're going to be this afraid all the time?
Yeah. Exactly.
If you're going to have, you know, itchy fingers on your trigger all the time because you're always afraid, always on alert, why are you a cop? If you're going to always be afraid of every situation that you deal with, then you shouldn't be in that profession.
But this is where the defunding of the police come in at, though. Because, again, we're not talking about taking funds away from the police entirely. We're just talking about putting those in better places that could be better used. Even in the police academy, having police officers go through a more rigorous form of education of policing. You know what I'm saying? Knowing how to read the signs of somebody who may have a social awkwardness, or somebody who may have a mental retardation, or, you know, being able to read those signs so you can assess the situation properly. That's
or even just really just acknowledging citizens' rights. A citizen does have a right to not give you information.
Yeah, but because they wear that, I feel like, forget your rights. I'm asking you a question, so you have to answer me.
So this is the thing about the defunding, though. This is the thing about the defunding, which I feel like I'm still pretty much against, only because when you look at it in this situation, right, a lot of the videos and the deaths that we're seeing, it's a lot of these deaths are one cop. Some of them, I mean, more cops are there, right? More cops are here. George Floyd, one cop killed him, the other ones stand around. That's becoming kind of more common. There's a few, like the case with the guy where they beat him up in the van, which was everybody. But a lot of these are just like one person. So when you talk about defunding, you're going to have less cops. And in these situations where you have less cops, are the cops less likely to do this stuff because they don't have one even watching their back? Like, are you going to kneel on somebody's throat at nighttime by yourself? You know, like, will you be comfortable doing that knowing that you don't have eyes behind your back? You know what I mean? In a situation like this, when we talk about defunding and moving those funds to something else, right. In this particular situation, you know, with Elijah McClain, how will defunding affect this particular situation? Because I would be on board with defunding if we can say that that's going to be this part of the solution to a wider range of the incidences that we've seen. So in this particular situation, how would the defunding have saved Elijah McClain's life?
Defunding doesn't have to be less police officers. It can be more money going towards there being more police officers. That way we don't have these single officer situations to where they're so scared and shit like that. You know what I mean? It's just the funds going in other places outside of military weapons for the police officers, the tanks, and, you know, the plainclothes division of the police and stuff like that. It's just
I feel like
the whole thing is it sounds nice in
very
practice.
unnecessary.
Yeah, it seems nice in
Very
practice, but think about all these stuff you're talking about. You're talking about taking away assault rifles. We don't see a lot of instances where black people are killed because of assault rifles. The pistols, the regular issue pistols. The tanks and stuff like that, we're not really seeing those come out. We see those come out during the protests. They weren't really used for anything.
But
I understand using those funds to enrich the community, but I don't see how it affects how we stop these things. And I thought that was the purpose of the funding, is to stop these things.
No, the purpose of it is to, again, reroute the funds. You're right. Many people being killed by assault rifles. So why do police need assault rifles?
Cool, but taking them away, right? I'm cool with it. I don't believe that they should have, okay? But how is moving that money somewhere else, anywhere? Put it in the community center, right? You're gonna put it in the community center. You're gonna get more youth off the streets, right? They don't have to hang out in parking lots. They can hang out in a safe place. They can learn. They can get educations, right? Mm-hmm. But how does that stop them from going to like an after school program where they learn about starting their own business, and then they're walking down the neighborhood and they happen to come upon a cop and they're killed? Like, nothing is the diverting of the funds is a good idea in practice on how to enrich communities, but I don't see it as a solution to stopping the issues, which I feel are at this point the murders.
Putting some of those funds back into the training process of the police officers.
I'm for that.
That's the solution.
Okay, I'm for that. Yeah,
well,
if it takes the tanks and the machine guns out the way, yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Well, I agree with that, with the funding police, in the sense of, like, first off, you need to eliminate any racial agenda. There's a way you can find out if there's any you can release any racial bias cops in the police. You can find anyone up on social media these days. You can look someone up on social media. If you're trying to join the force and there's a history of on your Twitter or your Facebook or some type of online social media thing of you bad mouthing anything that's related that comes off remotely racist, of course the cops should just, like, first of all, police used to just take anyone. You didn't graduate high school, or you graduated high school, fine. You know they'll take anybody. You were decent in high school, fine, we'll take you.
Yeah, there's the requirements.
The requirements is higher than just like having limbs and eyes. Just, all right, if you have any history of any racial tirades, if you've ever spoke against anything racially, if you ever said anything that was remotely or was even close to being racist, if the police should be able to find it. And
so you think there should be more thorough background checks when it comes to police officers?
That's not
psychiatric checks too.
Psychiatric checks, yes. Everyone should go through a psychiatric evaluation, and it should be also a more thorough background check of anyone that's even trying to join the academy. Eliminating, and they also say that being a cop you become racist, but that's a theory that has to be, that's a theory that's yet to be fully proven. But until then, you should at least do a full-on background check as far as the police department is concerned to cover your own ass, saying that, okay, oh well, we did a check on him. There's no history of any racist tirades he's ever said online, blah, blah, blah. He has no ties to any racial white supremacy movements or organizations, blah, blah, blah. And also he did a psychiatric evaluation that was based on race, and he, just do enough to comb out who has, racism in their mind and who doesn't. Who can make better judgment?
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying because, yeah, I'm a security guard. That's like rental cop to most people, but as a security guard, they even teach us train us on citizen law. They say that you always have to be able to use your better judgment. I'm at where I work. I'm always looking around at things, and if I see something that looks a little further south, I have to use my judgment and actually at least question what the deal is. Mm-hmm. If I see a group of black people walking around, I'm not going to be like, but I will be like,
But you're not trained. You're not trained to.
I'm not trained to think that way.
Anything, though, as well,
yeah.
right? because a lot of cops, for some strange reason, are trained to assume certain things out of a certain.
Yeah. You're trained to assume certain things, but that's why you pay attention to things, not just the skin.
Right. Pay attention to the subtleties too, because even I was watching something on the news where these cops were straight up told, "Hey, go after this demographic," and they have to meet a quota.
Mm-hmm.
So that right there is racially biased.
That is.
You're going off of this color of the person's skin.
Right.
I was trained to just like pay attention to everything, not just the race. You can be black and just be casually just happily walking around the neighborhood and it'll be all good. But if I see you got something in your hand that looks suspicious, I see that you're kind of running when you shouldn't be running. If I see something that looks, I don't just pay attention to the skin color of a person. I pay attention to everything that I'm seeing.
Yeah. Demeanor, everything.
Exactly.
So for like, I don't know how many racially charged departments that there are. I can't say that I'm a firm believer in the training. Training is important. The psychological evaluations are important to be more period. Bless you. To be more periodic. They need to be more periodic. It's not that you have them initially, because most police departments, and I've actually gone through a police department process, most police departments, they do a pretty good job trying to weed people out, right? They will check your social media if you have a picture of yourself on your social media, or if you use your real name. If you don't have either of those, they probably won't be able to find you. When you talk about your psychological evaluation, you can pass your psychological evaluation. You may not have anything on your regular Facebook that shows your racist, mentality, but you have another secret one of information who you are. So it's kind of hard at the beginning to weed out these people, because you don't really know. And I think that the 2016 election and what we saw in Virginia, a lot of places, I mean, we're seeing a lot of people who, you wouldn't tell they were racist or prejudiced or white supremacists, but now they feel comfortable being themselves publicly because of that election. And I think that what it is that happens too is, for some police officers who see action, things change for you. You know what I mean? You might be a cop for like 5 years, and every time you approach a white person, they're answering your questions, they're subservient, or the times that you've met them, you've only had an issue 1 or 2 times out of your 5 years. But the times that you've gotten called for certain things and you've had more exposure to black or brown people, maybe it didn't go as nice. Maybe they talk back more, which they have a right to do as citizens. You don't have a right to come into my home illegally. You don't have a warrant, stuff like that. And they've had more issues. There is a built-in bias there's a bias that grows, because you start thinking, you know what, I have more problem with these people than I do these people. And I think that's why the periodic training and the periodic psychological evaluations have to happen, because you might not be racist. You may not have a racist bone in your body, but you grow a prejudice through your experiences being on the beat, And
I have a question. Do you feel that black cops should be the ones in charge of patrolling black neighborhoods if they don't already?
I think in neighborhoods should have cops that reflect that neighborhood.
Exactly.
Yes. And the cops should have a rapport with people in the neighborhood, so then that way things don't have to escalate into which they feel like it's necessary to pull out the gun because they know.
For example, say a cop grew up in Lauderhill, went to Dillard or whatever, so he knows the neighborhood very well, decides to be a cop. Went to college and then decided to become a cop.
Right.
Like something like that I'm talking about.
Yeah, right. It doesn't matter. They're familiar with the area. They're familiar with the people in the area. You know what I mean? So they will know how to assess those situations.
Yeah, I think it should be a situation in the interview process where they sit there and say, okay, we understand that you're from you're over here from the Lauderhill neighborhood. You know what I mean? What's the best barbecue in the area? And if they don't know, or they can't rank them, then that they're lying trying to get a job. They're not for the neighborhood. They're out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I think that's more appropriate because you understand your community. You know how to talk to people better.
Yes.
I feel like these cops they're just shooting them out there to these neighborhoods that they probably would never set foot in on their own, and they're just assuming the worst, and that's why it's not reflecting their judgment. I always keep saying reflecting, you got to use your better judgment. If I grew up in a neighborhood and I know how everyone is, I know how to say something and still perform my duties, you know. I mean, if I got to be an asshole, I'll be a jerk. I mean, I will have to be, but you know, I know how to do it the right way and still do my job. Versus, I grew up in a suburban land my entire life, and I went to Weston and had all white friends my entire life. And next thing I know, I'm a cop, and all of a sudden I go to even like a predominantly Hispanic community. I don't speak a word of Spanish, but next thing I know, a person's calling me this and this and this, and all of a sudden I get all aggressive, and boom, it's like it all makes sense.
Dude, what did you say? My bad, man. I didn't mean to talk over you, Jay.
What I'm saying is, it does make sense.
No, I was saying G.
Oh.
In terms of what was your question?
No, because I was talking over you, so I wanted to hear what you were going to say.
No. I was just saying that in a lot of those situations, if a person is familiar with the neighborhood that they patrol in, then they know better in situations how to handle them in which you wouldn't need a gun 90% of the time, because these people
for
know how
best
to
example,
speak with them, all that.
Like the neighborhood I live in now, I live in Miami, but particularly I live in the Havana area, which is because I work at security and I got a job and it's just near where I live. The area is predominantly Hispanic. So 9 times out of 10, if a cop is called to the neighborhood, he or she is going to be, or at least fluent in Spanish. May not be like Hispanic, but fluent in Spanish enough to understand the community better. You know, they're not going to pick someone who's like a D student of Spanish to come and help this lady out or help this person out or interfere with this. They're going to send someone that at least understands the neighborhood, right, or at least grew up in a Hispanic neighborhood.
Yeah.
Or maybe even like in like areas like Little Haiti. They do have black cops there, but they also send cops who are fluent in Creole because whether they grew up in Haiti or whether they grew up in the United States, they always make sure they send the cops that can at least communicate better with,
they not only do they know how to communicate, but they actually have a rapport with these people, correct?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's what I think is missing in a lot of these neighborhoods. It's messed up that in a lot of our neighborhoods we see a cop and we're giving him the side eye because, number one, we don't know him, and two, we don't trust him because we don't know what he's going to do based on all the things that we've seen on the news.
I mean, I'm not 100% sure if we know anyone mutually, but I know people that we went to high school with ended up becoming cops, and they are cops in the neighborhood we live in now, where we all grew up in now, and they're doing all right. No, they haven't had any complaints.
But that's what I'm saying. We need more of that. You know what I mean? We don't have a lot of that. We have a whole bunch of people jumping into the police academy because it looks appealing, because all they got to do is work a select amount of years, which is not as long as a lot of other companies, and then they could retire early and get their pension.
Yeah.
So, we need people that are genuine in that position. So, yeah.
And I still feel like we should really try to redraft that police reform act that Trump put up, because it just seems one-sided. It should really inflect like better community relations versus just helping the cops out.
Yeah, it's really a protection for law enforcement and not addressing the issue, which is making sure again that the bad apples get weeded out so that we can commend the good apples and have a better relationship in all of our communities together in partnership. That's what it should be about.
There you have it.
There you go.
All right. We got 2 things that'll lighten the mood a little bit because this is heavy. Danger. You said something here about soulmates. Talk to us.
Oh, well, all right. I mean, it's kind of heavy too, but all right. I guess it's lighter because it's about love. It's about love, so maybe it's lighter. So I've been thinking about this for a minute. I wanted to bring this up, and we'll probably talk about this again. You know, in an expanded conversation. Probably bring L and PG on for their perspective. Maybe we'll see how it goes. So I was thinking about.
Hey, is this something that's gonna get us in trouble?
What happened?
Is this gonna get us in trouble?
It will. It will.
Yes, don't get y'all three in trouble. I'm single.
Well, good. So you might be able to. So you'll benefit from this conversation though, with the perspectives and kind of what to look out for too. Maybe look out for.
Maybe.
So I was thinking about this idea of your soulmate, right? Or if you don't believe in soulmates, the person that you're with, your relationship with your significant other, whatever they may be. With LGBTQ, whoever you love is who you love. Or people, polygamy, however you do anything. So I thought about this, and I thought of true love, right? True love. And I thought to myself, true love to me, right? Or what I think is the ideal situation is that you can be 100% yourself, 100% yourself, right? All of yourself. And that's true love. Your partner should know all of your secrets, all of the awful things that you've done, all of the awful things that you think, and they should still be able to love and support you. That is true love. But most of us don't really have that. We may have good relationships. They might be strong relationships. But we don't really have, most of us don't have that. And it's funny, and it's a little weird. So the song Ariana Grande, Imagine, right? There's a line in there where she's talking about telling me all of your secrets, even the creep shit. That's how I know it's true. And that's true.
That's your part?
That's my part, man. I love that song, real talk. But that's true. You got to be like, you know what? A sex fantasy for me is like tying you up and then putting you in the trunk of the car and driving you out to the Everglades and then getting
being hypothetical, right?
And you cannot be into it. You cannot be into it, but you shouldn't judge somebody for it. You should be like, okay, well, that's your thing. I'm not down, but I still love you. Not if you're a freak and in dark. But yeah. Wow. Weigh in, please. Weigh in. Hit your buzzes.
I think so. I don't know this one. Go ahead, so.
You're being hypothetical about that, right?
About the car thing?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't sharing a personal story. No, yeah. I mean,
thank
if that's your thing.
Like, yeah.
That's not one of mine. I mean, if I had a location in the Everglades, maybe, but no.
Like, damn, you think you know a guy?
Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest, because I like to be open on this podcast and with my homies. I'm into some creep shit. Okay, I'm into weird stuff. When you're in a corner, you're just looking at me, I'm staring at you, and I'm not gonna go into too many detail, but I got a good imagination. I'm just gonna say that.
Here's my definition of a soulmate. This is actually as a question I always keep saying to myself: when I'm lost, who's gonna find me? That's a question I ask myself.
Okay, Soulpatch.
Okay.
Gonna find me.
Dang.
And that question came up when I used to be a huge fan of The Simpsons when it was actually funny and not trying to compete with Family Guy and all these other cartoons. I was a huge fan of The Simpsons, and there's one episode of The Simpsons I remember where like Homer Simpson eats like a chili. For some reason he gets zooted up the hill. He gets like really high off this one chili pepper. He's had a chili cook-off, and he sees like to the point where he's seeing spirits. He's seeing like a coyote. He's seeing a spirit animal, and the coyote tells him like, Homer, you need to look for your soulmate, your kindred spirit, your the person that's intertwined with you. Automatically, he's thinking like, oh, I already know my soulmate is Marge. And the car is like, really? And then he's like, oh, that coyote's crazy. It's Marge. But as he gets to, he connects with Marge, but him and Marge are like beefing right now. She didn't like how he was acting at a chili festival. They're like at each other's throats, and then he gets really into it. He's like, "Wow, we really are soulmates. We don't like the same music. We don't like the same movies. We have the same. We're so different. We're pretty different." You know, and he's going on a quest to figure out who his soulmate is. Even going to the bar where he's always at most of the times, like, Mo, are you my soulmate? Who was the one that was always drunk all the time? The fat guy? Barney. He was asking all the people at the bar, "Are you my soulmate?" No, he's like walking all the way around.
He's just randomly asking people.
Yeah, and then to the point, he's just walking along Springfield trying to find his soulmate. He's like, "You know what? I'll go to a lighthouse. There's a lost soul there." And he goes to the lighthouse, and he's trying to like signal out his soulmate, and he ends up making a ship crash. And he's like, he feels lost, and out of nowhere, Marge shows up. He didn't tell her where he was going. He didn't mention where he was going. She just shows up, and he's like, "How'd you find me?" "Well, I figured you were walking because you've always told me that you thought public transportation was for losers. I figured you'd head this way because, you know, the city kind of slopes this way anyway. And I figured you'd pick the lighthouse because you've always told me how much you like looking at blinking lights, like the Walnut Waffle Iron or the one at Bronco Wave." And I was like, "Oh shit."
Wait, so when you had the wise words, you meant literally? Like when you lost on the streets?
Wow.
The person that actually can GPS your location is your soulmate?
I did mean that literally. Like when you're feeling lost and you're just going, when you're lost or you're getting lost, who's going to be the one that's going to come and find you?
Bring you home.
Figuratively, though, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Gotcha.
When you're lost, who's going to find you?
Okay.
Who knows, like,
who do you trust to find you? Because there's
people
people that find you, but who do you trust to find you?
Who do you trust?
Who can you rely on to find you?
Who do you trust to find you? Who's more willing to find you at the time?
Well, who knows how to find? Well, who knows how to find you, or who's?
Because there could be a lot of people that know how to find you, but it's all about how willing they are to find you at the time. There's a lot of subtleties involved in that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that can find you, because a lot of people know where you are, or a lot of people know where you would go. But who do you trust to find you, like BarZ said? And who's the most willing to find you no matter what? Right. No matter when you get lost. You know what I mean?
I look at the soulmate thing like home. You know what I mean? That home that you was raised in, that home that you grew up in, you know, you're gonna leave it. But when you go back to it, it still feels like home.
I feel the same way on that too.
So, you know, for your soulmate, it should be no matter, you guys are gonna go through things, you guys are gonna have your arguments, you're gonna have your fights, you're gonna have your differences, you're not gonna agree on everything. But at some point, just being next to that person, you feel more comfortable than ever. You feel safe. You feel secure. Peace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if you guys are beefing and, you know, there's still tension there, you still know that this is where you much rather be than anywhere else.
You can have an argument with this person at 1 minute, but still know 100% that if something were to go down, they'd still have your back.
Yeah.
So do you guys feel with this feeling, right? This feeling of home, this person is home for you. That is enough. That should be sufficient. That is the right place, right? It's the right person. Even if there are things about you they don't know. Because you've felt that it was not as glamorous a part of you, so you've not mentioned it. You didn't withhold it. You just didn't mention it because it wasn't important. And I say that because I was listening to this very popular morning show up in Palm Beach, and two of the people on there are married, and this one person, you know, is still single, and he was talking about what he did over the weekend, or he was excited to go to a convention, and the convention was for toys.
Mm.
And from what I know about women, a lot of adult women don't. No, literally, kids' toys.
Oh, kids'
action figures, big figurines, toys, you know. And I was thinking about this person. I was just like, wow, you know, knowing what I know about women, women don't really find stuff like that attractive. And wondering if there's a woman out there that finds it attractive or doesn't mind that that's their hobby. Kind of like 40-year-old Virgil when he found that woman. So I just think about, you know, when you meet somebody, you want to be the best person that you can be and put your best self out there. And you may not bring up things that you feel might not be attractive.
Yeah.
That the person may not care about, but you're not sharing it because you think it's something. And how that works. Like, is that still your soulmate though? Because they make you feel like home and all those things. Is this kind of like, you know, are you 100% you and are they 100% them? And does it matter? Is it is it important to have parts of yourself that are just for you?
But that could be tricky too.
Okay. I have a question. Sorry.
That could be just a friend. You know what I mean? You can have things in common with a friend. You can have a friend that you can divulge secrets to that you may not be able to tell the person that you're with necessarily, just because your friend may understand you a little bit more. There may not be a romantic attraction with that friend, but you feel comfortable in that space to where you can discuss these things and not feel judged and things like that. Would that really make that friend your soulmate as opposed to the person you're actually with?
So that's the whole thing. Is there a difference? Isn't your soulmate supposed to be your romantic relationship?
I don't think soulmate should be your. I feel like your soulmate really. The key word is mate. You know what I mean? Like, you know, your soulmate. You're connected by it. You're by your soul. You're connected.
And
so
it should be romantic.
It should be romantic. You know, like it can't be a friend. Even if you and her have a great history and you guys are great friends, she can't be a soulmate.
Soulpatch said you wrong, BarZ.
I'm not saying wrong. I'm just saying, like, we all have that one friend that's a female that you two are best of friends with, but it just never happened because who knows? But you know, if you guys are still good friends.
So hold on really quick. So is that the one that got away? Because you're saying that. So if it's usually when those happen, you get put in the friend zone. That's usually what happens. You either get put in the friend zone or you never shot the shot. So you're saying though, if you're in a relationship, you always have that friend and it didn't work out. So is that the one that got away?
I won't say it's the one that got away. It's just that, like, it's more like you guys are great friends, but it just never happened. I won't say she got away or it just never happened.
So you guys don't have to be romantically involved for that to be your soulmate.
But I mean, in that case, that would make us all four soulmates then, if that were the case.
Well, listen. Okay, so I see your face, Angel. So what I was gonna say though, with us, right, as brothers, as friends, as long as we've been friends for however long it's been, right? We've been friends longer than the people we are in relationships with. Mm-hmm. We've known each other longer than we've known the people we are in relationships with. Fair enough to say?
Fair
enough.
Yeah.
Would you say that we have more in common than the people that we are in relationships with?
Yeah. I would say so.
The only thing that separates those relationships is what?
Gender.
No butt fucking.
Gender.
Don't do that, G. Don't do that, G.
What did he say? What did he say?
He said gender is what separates it. Is it gender
and romance? Gender and romance.
Okay, romance is what separates it. It's not romance per se. Because listen, what you guys are into is what you guys are into. I don't judge. But romance is what separates it. Right. The physical aspect of the relationship is what separates those things.
Right.
So take those things away from your relationship, what do you have?
You have a friendship.
Yeah, you have a friendship, but how deep is that friendship? How deep is that bond?
Pretty deep.
Pretty deep.
Hopefully.
Because there's probably things that
if you can remove those things and that friendship still be as strong as it is, then yeah, I think it's
So would you? Okay, so with that being said, though, in the word soulmate is the most important word mate. I don't think that's the.
I think the most important word is probably soul.
Soul, yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what's being attached. That's the keenness. That's what's the attraction is
Complement each other.
attraction. However that attraction develops, and however that attraction, you know, what lengths that attraction may go to is a different case, but in an instance, it's still the soul ties.
When you're with your significant other, does it bring out the best in you, and do you bring out the best in that person?
Mm-hmm.
That's me personally. That's what I believe. A soulmate should fit the requirements of. Like, it should have the friendships, it should have the romance, but I feel like it should bring out, like, you should inspire the person you're with to be better, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So the person you're with, like, I want to be the best person I could be because of this person.
Yeah. So it's like when I'm asking for my soulmate, or, you know, looking for my soulmate, am I looking for the person that I have the best sex with? Am I looking for the person that I have who's the most attractive to me, or am I looking for the person that I can have the best conversation with, the person that I can open up the most with, the person that I can share things with? All right, what becomes more important in finding that soulmate?
That's a good point.
What's on the checklist?
So the person that you're romantically involved with doesn't have to be the everything. It's, I guess sometimes it happens that way, but sometimes it doesn't. But that's okay. There's different ways to get to the finish line, is what you're saying.
Right.
Okay.
It kind of has to be, for me, it's like whatever hold on. Maybe I'll sneeze again. I feel like a soulmate is usually someone that's like a counterpart of your own soul, like someone that kind of complements your own soul. Like Bobby, you, BarZ, you, G, and Danger, you have your certain personalities, and whoever you're with kind of complements your certain personalities.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really describe y'all that well, but like what what your woman bring to the table complements you in a way where it's like it balances out everything, you know.
For sure. Yeah.
So let me say this, the last thing. Let me say the last thing. What happened if you have a whole lot of soul and you need 3, you know?
Well, I mean, James Brown had a whole lot of soul. He's been married like 3 times, so like.
Yeah. Okay.
And
sometimes he's got too much soul, man. Like, he can't handle all his soul.
What about the evolution of the soul?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It might be one thing at one point in your life where your soul yearned for something different compared to now.
Because you're different now, as your experiences you learned, and
so you hope that you're with, your souls are actually growing together. You know what I mean?
Right.
As opposed to actually apart, it should be growing together, even intertwining even more, and separating themselves from what they used to be. Because now that as you guys come together, that soul, it should be one soul, ultimately.
Okay. So that's for your romantic relationship. But what happened if your soulmate is not your romantic relationship in the example you posed?
Even still, evolution.
So the growth, so if it was platonic, it should still be a growth.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I think it's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah, I knew this was gonna be good. Well, now it is. We'll see later.
Let's go like boxes or something like.
Huh?
They wear like boxes doing this.
What?
They wearing boxes doing this.
Oh no, I'm wearing basketball. Basketball.
Yeah, listen. Everybody pants, okay? Everybody. That needs to be a rule. Okay?
I'm wearing
those people.
And one
Alternative Facts podcast.
And
pants required.
So I'm not gonna lie. Our first one, I was gonna go bottomless. On purpose, but I decided not
just
to.
Because.
Just to do it. Just
because.
Get away with it.
Like after we get off the pandemic, you like remember when we were doing those Zoom calls? Bare ass, son, the whole time. Why are you telling us like
my AC was on 74 and everything? All right, so the moment we've all been waiting for. BarZ.
Is it?
Yes. Wait, yo, Soulpatch wasn't here for the last one, right?
He was
Yeah,
here.
I
was here.
Too.
Hey, Soulpatch, I'm mad that you missed our Bootios.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You missed the Bootios. But it's cool.
Booty. Was that on our last podcast? I don't remember that one.
No. That was at the top of this one. That's okay.
Oh yeah. I was actually on the road. I'm actually at my folks' house now.
All good. So, okay, this is what I need. Whenever G gets back, he can give me a number. Soulpatch, give me a number, sir. Between 1 and 21.
1 and 21? 2.
You taking 2, Dane? Okay. They just taking 2. Okay.
I'm taking 3.
You're taking 3. Oh, well, we used 3 last week. Take another one.
Do you know which one hasn't been used yet?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm telling you.
But you still have to pick.
5?
Nope, I used 5 last week. Pick another one.
11.
Okay, all right. And G, where are you at?
Yeah, he stepped out.
Oh, I'm coming.
Well, it's all right. We'll just pick one for him.
Pick one for him? Pick one for him. Go ahead. You want? Should I pick it for him?
You can already see the. You can't. Can you see the scenarios or no?
Yeah, I can see him.
So how are you gonna pick? Oh, you're gonna take what you got to take what's left.
Yeah, I can pick his, but All right, so I guess we'll do this portion of it without G.
I don't know. It's always more fun when he's there. I love to see how uncomfortable it is.
I know, man. We'll wait for him. Soulpatch, so how you doing, brother? How's everything?
Okay.
Get a chance to catch up with you today.
Everything's all right.
Everything's all right? That's what's up, man. How's the family? Everybody healthy?
Yeah, everyone's good. My niece kept interrupting. That's why I was like, let me move somewhere else.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. Probably just cut this out or something. I don't know.
Yeah, do we edit the Zooms? I don't. Do we?
I mean, maybe.
He can't hear us. He can hear us, but I don't know how to do it. Like, turn his camera off.
I don't know what he's doing.
All right, cool. Yeah, just pick a random one for him.
Pick a random one for him? All right, bet. All right, so.
All right, there you go. As soon as I said that.
Hey, welcome back.
Yes, thank you.
Pick number 1 through 21.
1 through 21, I'm gonna go with 7.
I'm gonna go with 7. Okay, all right. Everybody remember their numbers? Everybody remember?
Yes.
All right. Soulpatch, starting with you first. Which one did you pick?
11.
11.
You picked 11. All right. For some reason, man, you always get the safe. All right. So, for this one, would you rather have every first bite of pizza that you have be really hot, burning your tongue, or never have pizza again?
The first one.
You rather burn your mouth every time?
Yeah, it's a small price to pay for good pizza.
Yeah. Yep. Good move. You may not be able to really taste the rest of the pizza, but it's still.
Hey,
it's worth
plus,
it.
and plus, I mean, and I can taste other things, and I have to. Never mind.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Where was that gonna go?
Yeah, I don't want to know.
All right. This is a scientific question for you, Danger, since you picked it, number 7.
Damn. The fact that he had to have a little precursor means it's gonna be bad.
Nah. Would you rather be the only sane person in the world, or have omniscience for 5 minutes and be forever stranded with knowing that you knew the answers to everything but have forgotten?
What?
A little philosophical almost.
Yeah, right? Okay.
So be the only sane person. Everyone else is crazy around.
Only sane person in the world, or I don't know how to pronounce this word. Is it omniscience? Omniscience?
Omniscience?
Omniscience? Is that what it is? Omniscience? Is that a word?
Yeah, so I kind of like, I don't know, like almost like godlike.
All right, cool. So would you rather be the only sane person in the world or have omniscience for 5 minutes and be forever stranded with knowing that you knew the answers to everything but have forgotten them? You understand?
Yeah, like I know everything. Like I understand everything. I have answers to everything in life.
And then
For 5 minutes, I have this, but then I forget.
yes. Or would you rather be the only sane person in the world?
I'm gonna take the second one. It's less frustrating. Absolutely. I'm gonna use those 5 minutes. I'm gonna write down everything. I'm gonna write down everything about the biggest mysteries in the world. I'm gonna write down lottery numbers. I'm gonna get that money up for stock picks.
You gotta make sure you don't lose that notebook right at the
says
beginning.
you're forever stranded.
Absolutely not.
It says you're forever stranded.
Stranded weird.
You're forever stranded mentally, meaning that you've forgotten them.
That's why
And
it's
you
right
know
at
it.
For 5 minutes. For the
No.
5 minutes.
No, you know that you've known these things, but you've forgotten what you've known. So you're gonna be constantly thinking about what the fuck was it that you don't remember. You ever had that feeling?
Yeah, it's annoying.
Wait, hold on. So what's the 5 minutes thing about?
I guess for 5 minutes everything comes to you.
So within
Okay, so
those
I know
5
for
minutes,
5 whole minutes.
so within
I
those
know
5
everything.
minutes, you could write down what.
Because it says you're stranded. It says you're
Weird.
forever stranded. So for 5 minutes you know everything.
Okay, so this is very convoluted. So you're saying that I'm stranded like on an island or some shit with all of this knowledge that I only get to keep for 5 minutes?
You're mentally lost forever after these 5 minutes. Forever.
What happened? Outside of these 5 minutes, I'm stranded?
After the 5 minutes, you're forever mentally lost.
So I won't remember anything, or I won't remember anything that I knew?
That you knew.
So I knew all of the stuff in the universe. I won't know that anymore.
Right.
But I'll always be like, damn, what was that thing?
Yes.
Yeah, that would suck.
But I still somehow, in 5
Or
minutes,
the same person.
write it down.
It's a double-edged sword because being the only sane person, you can seem insane to everybody, right?
Yeah, plus it'd just be annoying. Bunch of crazy people around. I would just
So-
be annoyed. Anyway it happens, I'm probably gonna take the second. I really don't want people running around doing all types of weird shit, throwing feces, all types of really stuff that I think is crazy. I don't want to deal with that, man. I don't want to have to deal with that stuff. People running around giving random wet willies and stuff to grown people.
Wow.
Nah, I don't got time for that. You know, people forgetting their pants because they crazy walking around bare ass. Someone like BarZ on a Zoom call for a podcast that's extremely popular. I don't got time for that. It's like,
Yeah, that's.
but
yeah.
on the second, right? But on
I'm
the
still here. I'm
second
still
one,
here. From the Addis restroom.
so but in the second scenario,
Muted.
I feel
Muted.
like I would prefer that. I would go crazy. What?
He's using the restroom.
I'm still here, guys. I know he's using the restroom. I'm waiting for an order to come to the door.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
All right, so G and Soulpatch taking a dump, and I guess we're just gonna move forward with it.
Whoa. Soulpatch is taking a dump. I'm actually waiting for my Postmate to arrive in the next.
Oh man, did everybody leave?
What'd you order?
Food.
Okay. What kind of food? What'd you order?
Hold on.
Why am I the only one here? Danger's going on.
No, you're not. I'm still here. I'm just.
I'm listening. I'm good. I'm inside.
Okay.
Hey, there you guys go.
Yeah,
I'm
so
still here. I'm just in the restroom right now.
I'm gonna take the second one. Okay, we know you got it. We know you got Soulpatch.
All right. All right. Talk to me.
You get your food?
So
Yes.
I'm gonna go for the second one.
What's up?
Second one.
Taking the second one.
I'm taking the second one. You know why? Because in the second one, I might go insane. Always thinking about that thing. And I don't imagine it's like something else where you're doing something and it's like, oh, I forgot to do that thing, but you kind of move forward. It's not a big deal. I feel like with this situation, it would nag me because it would be so important. You know what I mean? It'd be like, did I pay that credit card bill? Did I pay my rent? Like, it would be one of those things where it'd be on my back. And I probably would go crazy trying to figure it out.
Universal answers. Having all the universal answers.
But you won't know that you had them, right? You would just be like,
No, you
damn.
know that you had them. You just won't remember what they were.
Yeah, I'd probably go crazy, but I'd take the second one just because it's less annoying.
Okay.
Makes sense.
All right. G, you picked 2, right?
No, God, no. I picked 7.
Yeah, I picked 2.
Oh, okay. I reversed yours then.
Too bad. All right. Yes.
Wow. So I was the 10th one. I actually like that question too. That sucks.
You want to answer?
Perfect. Especially with the NASA shirt. It would have been perfect.
Yeah, you answer.
I would have went with the second one as well.
Okay.
Okay.
It would have been boring.
All right. Well, number
This
2
one's
is
gonna be much better.
I feel like we've done this one before though, just on our own. So G, I know how much you love your parents, you know. So let me ask you: would you rather watch your parents have sex every single night for the rest of your life, or join in once and get it over with?
Whoa, God.
Yeah, we did cover this hypothetical one time. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I think I'm good on the sidelines, my friend. I'm good.
You just gonna watch them?
I'm just gonna watch in disgust.
Can I? Is this like them going at it to
It
help
helps. It's
you,
natural.
or is this like
Natural.
Wait. Can we get one thing straight? Are you
Porn star sex.
on the toilet?
It has to be porn star sex. Huh?
Yes, I am.
Can you mute his mic? I'm gonna need you to mute his mic until he comes back on the video.
Yeah, because I don't want to hear the echo. I don't want to hear the droplets. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear the
We're not gonna
hear the flush.
No, I'm not trying to hear tales from the bowl from Soulpatch.
Yeah, I'm hitting mute. He's probably laughing right now, but I'm hitting mute. All right. That was scary.
Watching your parents have porn star sex every single night, huh?
Really, that's really my only choice. I'm not joining him. I'm not.
Why did he add porn star sex? It's gonna get
Because it's
gross.
different. It's different. I don't want him to think it's like Amish or nothing like that.
It's
not.
It's not gonna be making love. It's not,
Nah. It's like Bang Bros, Ghetto Gat.
Let me spit in your mouth.
Oh man. Oh god.
Black.
Yeah, I'm good on the side. As disgusted as I'm gonna be watching, I'm okay with not touching.
Yeah.
That's good. That's wonderful.
Oh my gosh.
And
beat was about yours.
you gentlemen get to give me one. Pick, one, two.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's best if we pick your number. So let's pick a number and then we'll meet somewhere in the middle.
Don't pick 21. Don't pick 19.
I ain't listening to him.
17. Don't pick 11. Don't pick 7, and don't pick 2, and don't pick 3, and don't pick. What was the other one? 5.
All right. So in my head, I have 20. I don't know about you guys.
I'm okay with
21.
No, 20.
Oh, okay.
21 was already used.
20 it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, I love my parents very much.
Chose a good one.
Okay.
Huh?
I guess I chose a good one because of the hesitation I see.
Probably the worst was probably worse than yours. All right. Watch a porno.
Last week was pretty bad. So if it's the worst one of the day,
watch a porno that my parents made and masturbate to it. Or
yes, he has to.
You have to?
He has to, Soulpatch. He has to.
Or
she's so excited about this.
Or let your parents watch you watch porn while you masturbate.
Yo.
I feel like they're both lose-lose. So
it's a different situation. So because in both scenarios,
they gotta watch me.
They're watching you finish.
They gotta watch me.
So
they gotta watch me. Yeah.
So which one are you going with?
They're gonna watch me.
They gonna watch me. Listen.
You're going with the second one.
Yep. I'm gonna go ham. And
Yo, definitively. He said they gonna watch.
Well, all right.
Okay.
I like how you
I perked up when I said they're gonna watch me.
He was like, yo, he was like, that's a win. That's a win. That's it.
I was gonna say, like, the conviction BarZ had in his voice when he stated proudly, they are going to watch.
Yeah, 1,000%. 1,000%.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
This was
Where did you find these? These are quite disturbing.
Very
and there's definitely levels to it. It's like real undisturbing, like poop on the forehead, to real disturbing like these.
I got hundreds of them. We do a random one just because.
Sure, bonus round.
Yeah, I guess this one's for everybody to answer. It's a random one.
Right, let me see. Let me see. Okay. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. All right. Huh? Okay. This is for you guys. Would you rather give Zac Efron a lap dance or get a lap dance from Zach Galifianakis?
Second one. I think that'd be hilarious. I'm gonna go over the
Second
second one. Right off the rip.
Yeah,
That'd
the
be
second one will
hilarious.
make me laugh.
I might find it hilarious.
The second one will make me laugh. I know there's nothing there as well. Yeah.
Okay. That's a good one. That's it.
All right. Well.
Okay. All right. Good. That's good. Nice light note. Good. Very good.
That's how we should do it. Yeah. Anyway, that was awesome. Once again, man, head to thosepeople.com. Check out the website. Check out the YouTube. Check out the podcast. Check out the merch. Support the movement.
So, funny thing about the merch, even if you don't like the podcast, which of course you do, because it's amazing, it has something for everybody. Yeah. The merch is dope by itself.
Oh yeah,
it is. I love it.
As a standalone, shit is tight.
That's what's up, man. And of course, as always,
yeah, keep supporting those people, man, because when you support those people, you support your mom, your dad, your grandparents, your cousins and them, all your family, all your friends, all the people you care about. Keep supporting those people.
Everybody.
Oh,
all of them.
And you.
Yes.
We'll support them.
Before we go, Soulpatch, are you still on the toilet? And that we are out.
Yo.